Today's guest is one half of a husband and wife team who specialize in Oahu real estate photography and video. As you know, as a videographer myself, I love talking to other videographers and photographers. Mark is half of the team. His wife doing photo, he does video. We talk about real estate in Hawaii and how we are involved in that industry using this medium of content. Besides photography, Mark is living it up in Hawaii with his family. He spends a lot of time at the beach, in the water, surfing, and we talk about how all of that is part of his personal identity, but also his business and brand's identity. I think you're going to get a lot of value from this if you yourself are in a husband and wife business team, if you are into real estate, and you know what, if you just like Hawaii. From smaller condo units in the $300,000 range all the way up to high-end luxury in the multiple million range, they do it all. And we get into a little bit of the storyline that they build through their videos. And if you're a small business owner yourself, I'm sure you're going to be able to find some gems about how you can take your business to the next level. This is Mark Pierre. Wait, Malia clowns you for trying to put out some content? What's going on here?
Yeah, dude, Malia is really, she runs the thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. She's the boss.
I know it's Pierre Films.
Yeah.
And I know I was like, okay, that's your name. It's a great, I know you didn't have a choice of your name, Pierre.
Yeah.
But like, isn't it great? Like it's a visual thing.
Yeah, it's a visual thing. And we wanted it to just be, it's us. Because at first we were Pierre Films. And it was like kind of long. And we're like, you know what? Let's just do Pierre Films. And then now it's kind of tricky because people are like, oh, you're a film company. But I'm like, oh, no, we're a real estate media company.
So is that what you are then?
That's what we are. That's it. We
okay.
Like 99% real estate media. And then sometimes friends are like, hey, I have an idea to do this. Or can you help me out with this? And we're like, yeah, we can help you out with that.
As soon as you publicly brand yourself as something photography, something media, something video, something studio, everybody is gonna be like, hey, my cousin's first birthday party, or you know what I mean?
Right.
So I get that. You get those, this is not what my thing is for you, real estate.
Yeah.
But because you have, let's say you have the experience, you have the gear.
Yeah.
And you can probably do it better than who is asking you.
Yeah.
I guess you do end up doing that a bit.
Sometimes.
Just on the side. But
yeah, it's mostly just, it's favors at this point for that stuff because we just, shooting events of any sort is, oh man, that's just a whole nother animal, you know?
I do know.
You do know.
I came from that.
I know. I know.
I was trying to do the math, and I probably could someday. Some AI is going to help me do it, of how many videos I've, like, it's weird because like if I take a video on my phone of like my daughter washing the truck or something, that's technically a video, but I don't want that to be in this count of like how many videos have I done. And I think maybe if we just kind of put like how many videos did I receive monetary compensation to deliver? Right. Still, even that number, I'm like, wow.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say. Yeah. I'm sure you could go back through all my computers over the last whatever decades, figure it out, but it's a lot. And a lot of them were events. Yeah. Which I don't miss. I mean, I miss events, period. Yeah. 2020 really put that in perspective, but like, I don't really, in a lot of ways I don't. And so
what do you miss about them?
I just miss seeing people that you weren't planning to see. Yeah. Or making connections you weren't planning, the serendipitous moments that come with weddings, as well as just the group stoke. You know what I mean? Like
the energy is cool. The energy is really cool. And when you're filming that, and you're getting a good shot of like a group of people celebrating something so special and so important, it's always a really cool thing to upload that in your computer and start cutting it up and making this magic 5-minute video of this day or something like that. But man, that day is so intense as a videographer or a photographer. Right. It's just, and I think I had this this feeling where I was like, oh, I can't ever put my camera down because I'm being paid to be here to work. That was maybe that's a personal problem that I have.
I wouldn't even call. Is it a problem?
I don't know. It is for like my back.
Oh, because your video gimbal, like
Video
oh,
gimbal.
man.
And it's like I'm running the 1DX, and it's probably with everything 7-8 pounds total. And man, that 7 pounds.
That right bicep.
Oh
I don't know,
my
your right hand, left hand.
Right bicep, bro.
That right bicep and the shoulder, the traps,
Shot.
everything.
Shot.
I don't. I think we had a conversation about. I think I was still running the Micro Four Thirds. What is it? It's been the Panasonic GH5.
Yeah.
So I was running those since the GH3 or 2 actually. So I don't know how many years. I was in Japan still. I got the Panasonic GH2. I had the PowerShot, Canon something PowerShot.
Okay.
When I was in university in Oregon, but like I went to Japan, got into the mirrorless.
Yep.
Panasonic GH2 at the time, and I rode that all the way to 3, 4, 5,
Yep.
and then I went mirrorless, Sony, full frame.
Yep.
And I was like, in between, I was for the event stuff for the weddings, I was using the C100.
Okay.
Dude, C100 with a 7200 on it, on a monopod, is the worst. I mean, it's cool. I like the internal NDs and stuff, but like, because it's a good way to. I like using internal NDs on like the bigger FX6, for example,
Yep.
C100s. These cameras. But at the end of the day,
It's
we
a
getting
beast.
older,
Yeah.
and if
You feel it in the
if I
back.
have to lift
Yeah.
this thing and move it
Yeah.
over and over and
Yeah.
over, I will take the smaller, lighter setup
Right.
100% of the time.
Right.
Like the one, I know 1DX is huge.
It's huge.
Freaking like my
It's
fingers
huge.
too, like the ergonomics.
Yeah.
I remember grabbing that and be like, ooh, click, like
It's a tank.
it's a fucking.
It's a tank of a camera. Yeah. And it's so hard because we invested into 1DXs. So we got the Mark II and the Mark III, and they're amazing. They're insane cameras, but we don't even use them to their full potential. I'm not shooting in 5.5K 60 raw log. I'm not shooting in that.
Who is?
I don't know. I can't, with the amount of media that we're doing all the time, I can't keep up with that, like that size of footage. Like it's too much. It just bogs us down.
Quick shout out to anybody who's doing that, because power to you, but at the same time, what are you doing? Because time. I say this a lot, like to everybody, oh, I'm sure you get it too. What kind of camera should I get?
All the time.
It's like, not that if you ask me that, I'm not talking shit about you. It's just, that's one of the questions that now my answer is going to begin with a whole list of questions.
Yeah.
My answer starts with a list of questions. Like, hey, I'm going to Japan. Like, what should I? That automatically goes, okay, now I have to do an interview.
Exactly.
And so like cameras is the same thing. I'm like, oh, okay, you're going to get a new camera. All right. You asked me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, you cannot overstate the importance of like the workflow.
Yep.
The camera's a small piece of the workflow.
Yeah.
And the biggest, most, in a lot of ways, like only now I've been able to like kind of invest in that side, which is like the post.
Yeah.
Which is data management.
Yes.
Data storage.
Yes.
Computers. These kind of systems that if you have, let's say, if you've invested in that side the same way you think of camera body, lens, drone, gimbal, but you do that on the data management side, then go ahead and shoot that 5.5K 60p raw, like, you know what I'm saying? And get that little color grading. That's a whole nother thing. But like,
it is.
Get those, color grading, like keyboard things and screens. I'm like, this is why you see so many names and credits in movies.
Exactly. I think about it every time I see it.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, there's 200 people working on this documentary. I love watching the documentaries, and I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. Just like the look that they achieved, and the way that they paint the picture and tell the story, and the way that they shoot, and then the way that they do the reenactments. I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. I think I can do something like that. And then, you try it and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do something like this on my own, like shooting run and gun.
I mean, I think the thing is, like, now there's so many people with cameras
Yep.
that the supply is outrisen. I think the demand for
Yeah.
us, like people who are working professionals, right?
Yeah.
We got to think about it. If
Yeah.
you're just a hobbyist, whatever, you just want better family videos and stuff, it's a different conversation. But if you're looking to make money with media, you got to think about supply and demand. And
Yeah.
right now, everyone is, I don't want to say saturating, but everyone can be, I wouldn't say a good photographer, but everyone can take a good photo.
Yeah.
You just,
Yeah.
because that's the nature of having so many devices around.
Yep.
If you're in the right spot for, let's say, I don't know, if it's an event, the bride did something, did a dance, and you had the camera that was the only one recording, congratulations, you got a good video, a
Yep.
good photo.
Yep.
Doesn't mean you're a good videographer, a good
No.
photographer,
Yeah.
because it's not repeatable.
Yeah.
It might have been a fluke. You might have been leaning on the tech. But now it's like, to be a good photographer, a good videographer, it's like, can you do it consistently?
Exactly.
With not the $25 million home in Kahala, with the townhome in Sea Country or something,
and
you know what I mean?
that's a majority of what we're shooting. That's 80% of what we shoot
Is what?
is townhouses. You know, because that's what sells more. So we're doing media for small houses and trying to make small, very normal houses look, you know, trying to make small houses look bigger and nicer and to just basically draw people into it and then let the agents do their job and say, hey, this is the deal. This is reality for you right now.
Where do you draw the line? Because I say that
I
knowing
wouldn't,
full well.
If I didn't have to draw a line, I wouldn't. Like I would, if I could make, bro, if I could add effects to it to make it look better, I would. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to give the best product to the client so that they can put it out there and get people interested, get a frenzy going.
Because especially here, so I feel like at this point we got to kind of like, wait, let's rewind. Like who's Mark? What are you doing? Because I know you through mutual real estate agents as well as just mutual friends, people in Hawaii type of thing. But for those who are like, who's this guy, right? How do you do the elevator intro?
Oh boy.
And then we can dive in.
I've never done an elevator intro, but man, just as far as the media side goes, we just I'm Mark Pierre and Malia and I, my wife and I, we own a real estate media company and we do photography, videography, we do the aerial, we do the websites, we do the 3D walkthroughs.
Matterport?
We don't do Matterport.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do Matterport, but we lean into the video side because that's where our passion is. You know, my background is I was a video editor, and Malia's background is she was a portrait photographer, and we grew up, you know, and that's how we met. We've been doing this for 20 years now together, and when we first started hanging out, she was taking pictures and I was doing videos. And we got married. Like life hit us like a ton of bricks.
AKA kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like my
Translation
parents and
for the
Malia's,
non-parents out there.
Yeah. My parents and Malia's parents were like, okay, yeah, so what are you gonna do? You know? So I'm like, shoot. Ended up joining the Coast Guard.
Okay.
And I've been in the Coast Guard for 16 years now. And about 5 years ago, we kind of like hit this fork in the road where we were like, we want to do, it was basically like Malia's like, hey, like I'm ready to like not be at home with the kids all the time, and I'm ready to do something again. And we were just spitballing ideas. And at the time we lived in North Carolina, and I don't know who came up with it, but we're like, hey, let's start a video production company because we know how to do that. We make fun family films, and let's see if we can turn this into a business and see if people will pay for these videos. And we did. That's how Pure Films started.
What year was this?
This was 2016. 2017, no,
Sure.
2017, 18. I guess my time is off. Yeah, it's like been 7 years now. Yeah, 6, 7 years. And we were strictly video, and we were kind of just doing everything. We were doing weddings, we were doing small kind commercials for friends who had small businesses, shooting events, shooting graduations, shooting birthday parties. And we ended up taking a course. Malia was like, hey, we need to buy this course. It's called Full-Time Filmmaker.
Hey.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Parker Wallback.
Yeah.
He changed, honestly, like it changed everything for us. We took this course, and I want to say the course was like, it was like $600. And I remember thinking, you know, it was a lot for us. It was like right before Christmas, and I think it was around Thanksgiving time. And Malia's always been the one who's like, who's going to invest in us if we don't invest in ourselves? That's her whole mindset, and it's beautiful, because I get way too caught up in like being practical and realistic, or whatever you want to call it, you know. And she's like, "No, we're gonna buy it." And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't think we should buy it." So I go to work one day. I come home. She goes, "I bought it." I was like, "Sweet, bro." We sat down, and it's basically, we just watched that on our TV, and it was the first time I've ever just had like a start to finish course where it was like, oh, do this, not that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, try this, try that. I wouldn't do this. This is what this does. And, you know, I thought I knew a lot just from messing with cameras and being an editor for a long time. But man, that program taught us so much, and it gave us the foundation of which we built our entire company off of.
What, if you had to summarize, were the biggest like do's and don'ts? Or let's put it this way. Was your biggest like, oops, that's our biggest mistake up to this point? And then also like, that was the biggest change for the better?
The biggest mistake, I think, up to that point was using equipment that was just inadequate. Using cheap lenses, using cheap audio equipment, because at the time we were shooting events. We were running 2 Canon 70Ds, which, you know, like that's not that best camera. You know, you're shooting like the highest I think resolution we could shoot in was 1080 at 24. Like that's what we were running. And then at the time, people were already shooting in 4K. Yeah, you know, this wasn't that long ago, and we were falling back on our like fundamental skills that we had as in like the photography and filmmaking field. So we were able to get away with it, but we were just never happy with our work. So the biggest takeaway, like one of the first courses, is like the gear. And this is where the 1DX came into play. Gotcha. They were shooting with Reds, and they were shooting with Sony A7S3? A7?
Probably around there.
Yes.
This is like the late teens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely before the 4, I think the 3S?
3S? I don't know.
At this time, also on the Panasonic, so I don't know.
Okay. They weren't shooting on Panasonic. They were shooting on Sonys, on Reds, and on 1DXs. And we were already Canon people. So the 1DX was like, oh, easy button.
Okay.
Ordered a 1DX, ordered a Sigma 35mm prime. Yeah. And I ordered a Ronin gimbal.
You went in on that B&H order.
We put, exactly. All BH, B&H. Ended up spending $24,000 on a credit card.
Okay.
And I was terrified, because that stresses me out. You know, I got 3 little kids, primarily like being the guy in the house who's like, you know, going to work and making the money, and like seeing like at the time, that's half my year's pay from where I was working. That was half
Coast
a year's
Guard?
pay. Coast Guard.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, this is nuts. Half a year's pay.
Hey, but you can always blame her. Like, hey, you bought the course.
I did. Bro, the craziest thing happened though. The first year we made like $2,000. I'm like trying to not beat ourselves up. But then the second year we made $24,000.
Ooh.
We paid it off.
Yeah.
We paid it off. And I was like, oh my gosh, we got something here. And we just kept continuing with it, and now I think we're like right back at that zone again where we keep talking to each other like, hey, we need to invest again in some new equipment that works for us, that is going to add value to us and add value to our clients, and just all in all, just like make our lives better. And when I think about that, I just think of like the again, back to the weight of the camera. The thing is still still 7 pounds.
So you still just the Rona, you don't have any strap,
No.
you don't have any vest type of.
No, I have like a small rig handle. And
Okay, so you're at least using two hands.
Yes.
I mean, you
I couldn't
gotta
do it
use
with one. I had to order. That thing was. I wish I would have wrapped my gear, but you should have told me.
I did. That was my fault. That was my fault. Sean. Go look at Pure Films Instagram, and you can see all the stuff they do. But like, I like the BTS stuff, by the way. I'm just a BTS kind of guy.
Yeah.
I think that's stuff that feeds me as a creator.
Yep.
I want to see behind.
Yep.
I see the finished stuff.
Yep.
I want to see the process. And I think that's something that a lot of photographers and videographers, we get caught up in, is like, we just see the finished thing, like a painting, which was the beginning of my like creative expression, you could say, when I was like in university.
Okay.
Graffiti, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of times you see the finished piece,
Yep.
but you don't see everything before and after
Exactly.
that, getting to the spot and leaving the spot. And so that became like the draw for me, and that just translated to video too, where I'm like, I see the thing, good, bad, whatever, it's so subjective.
Right.
I want to see the before and after.
How does it get there?
And that's what this is about too, is just kind of like, hey, as creators, right? Like, let's talk about the process. Let's talk about that investment, that leap. Because I know if you're spending half of your year in monetary terms, right?
Yeah.
With kids,
Yep.
that's the thing too, like non-parents.
With 3 kids.
I feel like, it's a different thing. You're looking at it like that's tuition, that's a 401k,
Yeah.
that's a Roth, that's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like there's all these different calculations that we make.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
it's manifested in this piece of hardware that you know is going to be outdated in about 4 years.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I feel
Yeah.
too. I mean, you was talking about this. I'm like, there's a ticking. I see a hourglass every time I look at one of these pieces of equipment.
Yep.
Even this, like this. How many MacBooks have I had? I don't know.
How many?
But I just make sure that I run it as hard as possible
Yep.
to reach that point where you're like, oh, we washed.
Exactly.
At least get to the wash, even, net zero, and then everything's gravy.
Yep.
But the sooner the better, obviously.
Yeah.
Even better if you don't even have to put in to that. If you can, there's so many creative ways to
Right.
get access to these things. But I think the part that resonates is with you sharing everything you just shared, like the part that resonates with me and with a lot of people out there, is that you weren't sure about it.
No.
It was a crazy idea, and I mean, it was backed by the wife,
Yeah.
by the partner.
Yeah.
So that's solid, because a lot of people don't have that support.
Yep.
A lot of people is solo,
It's huge.
solo dolo. So it's like you're just in your head, and you took the leap. The first year or whatever, you made 2K.
Yep.
Second year, now you're 0.
Yep.
But then where you're at today is what's next. And
Yeah.
I'm curious about that too, because in a lot of ways, I feel I'm cautious about pulling the trigger as well, because I see the writing on the wall as far as leaning on your skill, experience, and point of view,
Yeah.
which is largely what professionals get paid for,
Yep. Yep.
and the balance, the other side of that, which is just technology.
Yep.
So you take that and you think, well, a day one person can produce something that might be indistinguishable from me with my years of experience and vision and point of view, perspective, right?
Yeah.
Quote unquote human, if we're saying the other side is AI or something, right? And so like I see that writing on the wall, and I'm thinking, I reached wash point with a lot of my stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm past it in a lot of ways, but like, it's still something I think about, and I mean, this is getting into kind of like, I don't know if you heard of the analogy with like fishermen, like lures. are not meant for fish. They're meant for fishermen.
Ah,
You know what I mean?
I think I've heard that before.
Something-
I fish, so
I'm paraphrasing
yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm like, you're right.
yeah. That
when
shiny,
I go in there,
that shiny
I don't
Yozuri,
have that. When
that $25 Yozuri. Why
it's
is
only-
this Yozuri
it used to be
$25?
30.
I think I need it.
Should I need? Yeah.
I think I'm gonna
I'll
get
make
it.
2.
I'm gonna get 2 because I'm gonna get one stuck on the reef.
Just in case.
Guarantee.
I lost my other one.
Yeah.
Like, it's for us,
Yeah. Yep.
not really the fish. They would bite a plastic bag, right?
Yep.
A cork, whatever. So
They
like,
will.
I feel the same thing when I'm on BNH. Not anything's wrong with BNH. Like, they have cornered the market in a very efficient way.
Yeah, it's a candy store for us.
Have you ever been there?
No, oh no, not to the.
Oh.
No, just the website.
Don't.
I want
Or
to.
leave your wallet. Like,
Yeah,
It's-
window shop a little bit.
it's amazing. They have like there's products and like rails and systems like in the ceilings that
Oh my
move
gosh.
product along, and I'm just like, what? I don't.
I bet it's
It felt like
amazing.
Willy Wonka chocolate factory moment for me,
I bet it's amazing.
and I was a goose just about to jump.
How's
in.
the so like when you're there, is the people who work there super knowledgeable?
The ones that I talked to? I went there
Yeah,
once.
yeah.
And what year was it? Like, I want to say 2010 maybe.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Okay.
Wait, no, because it was, something else. I think it maybe 11, because I think it was
Okay,
a 10-year
okay.
anniversary of 9/11. I think. Just by chance, there was like a thing in the city, and I was there, and I was like, oh, it's September 11th, like 10 years later thing.
Yeah.
But so this is kind of dated. It might have changed,
Yeah.
but I was already familiar with it as someone who shoots, right?
Yeah. I mean, they've been around
Yeah, like they're
like,
no,
since I was a kid.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew, I was like, if I'm going to New York, I got to do XYZ. 5 points in Brooklyn, check. I went, then B&H was another one for me.
Wow.
Did that, take some long exposures and stuff. So I did all that stuff, but it was like almost paralysis by analysis, or like
Okay.
too much options.
Yep.
I didn't know what to do. And I was like, I got 500. I'm limited right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got some leaf filters. I got some shit I
Yeah.
didn't need.
Yeah. You're gonna get
But-
some accessories. Yeah.
The only person I actually talked to was about the leaf filters that I was looking for.
Okay.
So I already went in with kind of like,
What is that lead filter?
it's just a brand,
Oh, okay.
but it's like graduated ND filters.
Okay.
The kind that, you
Got
you
it.
screw onto the
Yes.
lens, and then
Yeah.
you can like change the, is it ND
Yeah.
8, 16, whatever.
Yep.
So I got that.
Yep.
And then I think I got like a bag and some other, just,
Yeah.
it's like a tackle shop.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to get some shit I don't need.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did.
Yep.
And the person who I talked to, and this is like before I was even into like audio stuff,
Okay.
thankfully.
Dude.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
And lighting. So like lighting and audio was just like, I'm happy with a little $40 LED panel that uses like 8 AA batteries. Kind of,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't care. None of this. None of this.
Yeah.
Audio was like, huh? I got a
Right.
shotgun mic. I'm good.
Yeah.
Thankfully. So a lot at that time I was more into like photography, and I'll say half photography, half video
Okay.
at that time,
Okay.
which I think a lot of us go through that kind of
That's a cool
kind of
place
like
to be.
before you commit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like,
Yeah.
I know you say like you do video, Malia does photo,
For sure.
but I'm sure she does some video, and
She
you do
does.
photo sometimes too, right?
I do.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I get like the money making part of what we do,
Yeah.
but there's also other parts.
Yeah.
And so for me at BH, it was more like, I'm going to entertain the parts that I don't necessarily make money off of,
Yeah.
right?
You gotta have fun, and you gotta get those new things, because you never know. You never know like what buying a filter is gonna like snowball into. So you never know. Like you add this little thing, like we added a prime lens, and it changed everything. I shot a video.
The 35?
With a 35 millimeter prime, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is
I see.
a game changer. And it was a $450 piece of equipment, and it was like, we can do this. It was huge.
So you have the 35 prime Sigma on a Canon 1DX.
Yep.
And what, on a gimbal? Or?
On a gimbal, on the Ronin.
Okay.
I can't remember which model it is, but
The Ronin gimbal.
it's a Ronin gimbal.
And it got to be a beefy one for the 1DX.
It's the beefy one because I ended up buying the new one,
Uh-huh.
which is like lighter and carbon and supposed to hold the weight of the 1DX. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not balancing it.
What?
It's not working for me. So I'm just running with my classic Old Faithful. I'm just like running with Old Faithful setup so much.
You want a Glidecam 4000? Because I got one of them in the garage that I never use. I don't know.
Is that the one, the just the weighted weight on the bottom?
What's his name?
I gave mine away.
Davin's Super
Champ.
Yeah.
Devin Super Champ.
Devin Super.
Yes.
I got it like in, I don't know, 10 some years ago when he was like blowing up on YouTube, and that was the thing, right?
Yeah.
The Glidecam.
The Glidecam. Yeah. It looks cool too.
Yeah, but it's
so
a
heavy.
bitch.
Yeah.
To
I gave mine away. I bought one.
Yeah, you should.
Because of Devin Super Champ.
See.
Yeah.
Look at these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, I think it's great that you have those kind of I guess this was before the influencer term had entered the lexicon of like where we are today, but like he was an influencer.
Yeah.
And I want to do that. And that's what he uses. So I'm going to get it. And then you realize, wait, it's not as simple as just having the same things. And for me, it was the balancing part. It was also the breakdown, the setup and breakdown. Because
all
the
those
thing that
weights
people
that are
overlook,
clipped in.
I feel the thing that people overlook all the time with camera gear is how you're transporting it.
Oh my gosh.
Because what kind of bag do you need?
Bro.
What kind of peripheral things do you need?
This is a perpetual problem.
Do you need?
Yeah.
And I mean, it could get as big as like a car if you really want to get that.
It really
nuts.
can. It really can. And that's why I think the other like nice thing about niching into something is that you are now know exactly what you need all the time because you're making a repeatable product. And that has been like, that's huge. I think it's huge for me personally, because I still have another full-time job. Like I have 2 full-time jobs at this point between Pure Films and the Coast Guard. And I have, 3 kids. And that's the most important thing in my life is my family, and like getting out and going to the beach and going surfing with them and going fishing. Like that's what we do. So everything that we do is based on like eventually like being able to do that more and do this less. But by niching into what we did with real estate was it's a bundle. We have a Pelican case.
So what, one case in and out?
I have one case and Malia has a backpack. And then she has a tripod on the side and I have my gimbal on the side. And that's it.
There you go.
That's
it.
So
you can walk in with everything.
With
You're not making multiple trips.
One trip. Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool. It's cool, I guess. It's cool, but I would say 6 years ago, when we started Pure Films, like I didn't dream of being a real estate media company. That wasn't the vision. Like I was like, you've seen Chef's Table.
Oh yeah.
Of course you did.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, I want to make Chef's Table. Like I want to, like that to me, I don't know what it was, but it's just so perfect and simplistic, and every shot is so well thought out, and all the music is so cinematic, and the storylines are so perfect. That inspired me so much. And it's just like all these human experiences. And I was like, I want to make stuff like that, And then like the Beats by Dre commercials started coming out, and the Haka one. Have you seen that?
Wait,
one?
Beats by Dre Haka?
The Beats by Dre Haka commercial where they go to New Zealand and they don't even show Beats by Dre. Like it's just this Haka documentary that's 5 minutes long. If you haven't seen it, just go YouTube it. Beats by Dre Haka documentary, and it's to me the best 5-minute piece of media that I've ever seen.
Bro,
yeah.
I love hearing about creators' inspiration.
Yes.
So
it's like these little things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, to me, I'm like, okay, as we both know, I guess we can jump into that too. It's like we both do real estate, video, but very different lanes.
Yeah.
And so we can kind of dive into that too. But you're saying that you saw something a little bit more, I don't know if the fine art is a way to put it, but I think why people like us are attracted to things like Chef's Table, for example,
Yeah.
is because, yeah, food is like the second or third thing you think about.
It is the second
right?
or third thing.
It's called
Yes.
Chef's Table. It's a little bit of a misnomer, but like really you learn about people and places.
Yeah.
And then you want to
Yes.
go there. It whets the appetite for that person or that place.
Yeah.
And then, but as a consequence of that person or place, you're going to have something that is going to be really good.
Yeah.
And so it's like that, I think, that connection of people and place. And us being in Hawaii, I think the place is huge, like forefront.
Oh, it's huge.
Because the place of Hawaii where we live is, to us, special, like being here, born and raised, but also raising our kids here. But then when we take that kind of objective third person view of it, as we must, as people behind the camera, you think about it in terms of how the world sees it and how to present it to the world.
Yeah.
And so now you've got this place, real estate. A lot of times, and that's a question I had for you today too. It's like I had so many questions. Like I want to ask him about all these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like one of them was, how do you make a storyline when the subject, there's no people,
Right.
and the subject is a house.
Yeah.
It's a house in a place, so it's a house in Hawaii. And when you're making a storyline, how do you attack that?
So yeah, that's a really good question. Because there is a little bit of a story to tell with the house, and some houses have deeper stories than others. But the first thing that I always put right at the forefront, I try to put into our media, is that we're in Hawaii. That's the first thing. So I have got at this point lifestyle footage from all around the island, and I try to add that. So if I'm shooting a house in Eva Beach, I've got lifestyle footage of, White Plains and, even like shopping centers and stuff like that. So I was trying to show like, hey, this area, but mostly Hawaii lifestyle, because I think when people are moving to Hawaii or buying a place in Hawaii, we all know that most of us, if we want a big house, we're not going to buy a house in Hawaii. We're going to go and buy a house in the mainland. So in Hawaii, what you're buying is the lifestyle. So in our videos, I'm trying to showcase that lifestyle. Man, sometimes we're fortunate to be able to film these, $5 to $10 million homes that are on the water, where it does it for you. Like it's like
Yeah. Hawaii Kai, done.
Yeah, like people see the video and like, oh, that video was so good. I was like, it was just the house.
Hawaii Kai, Kailua, Kahala,
Yeah. Yeah.
even Eva Beach to some degree, even Makaha. I like
Yeah.
when North Shore. I didn't even say North Shore
Yeah.
where you live, but
Yeah.
like, I got you.
Yeah.
So you start there with
Start
the
there.
lifestyle.
Yeah, with the lifestyle. And then we just try to tell the story of how you would be when you first walk into the house. Really just at this point, we have a somewhat of a standard approach to how we do it. It's like bringing you, the viewer, into the home. So we're going to start with lifestyle, and then we're going to showcase the home from afar. Then we're going to cruise into the house, and then we're going to show like the main feature of the home. So sometimes that's the living room. Sometimes that's the kitchen. Sometimes it's the yard. And then from there, we just kind of work our way, checking boxes through the house.
Are these something that you collaborate with the listing agent
Yep.
with, basically?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just like, hey, here's our listing. The keys are over here. Here's the lockbox.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
And then sometimes agents have a true vision. And those are usually the videos that come out way better and that we're showcasing on, our Instagram. So there's not a one size fits all for the videos, but for the most part, because we're a business, we do try to make it a repeatable product that our clients know that what they're gonna get. They have an idea of what they're gonna get. They're gonna get the Hawaii experience, and then they're gonna get beautiful footage of this home that is. Real estate can be boring. So we're trying to make it exciting and fun. And that's the constant battle that we're dealing with. Is like, how can we make these videos more appealing and more fun and less boring? Because a house is just this inanimate object.
That's why. So let's unpack all the questions I was thinking of before you showed up. Like, one was like, how do you make an engaging, quote unquote, engaging, because that's so subjective, right? How do you make an engaging video without a person in it? There's no people. A lot of times, there's no people. There's no faces. There's no voices.
Right. Okay.
Which is
music.
where us different. Like, we're both doing real estate
Right.
videos.
Yep.
But very different right there already. Because in the videos that I do,
I can watch a 40-minute video that you do on YouTube.
Exactly.
And I'm like, this is fun.
Because there's Derek, Mahe, like there's personalities.
Yeah.
You're coming back because you can expect the same person, the same jokes, the same banter, but now it's a different neighborhood. So it's like the ongoing relationship building process that is afforded to you by having a consistent channel.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, I'm making real estate videos, but I'm thinking all about the faces and voices.
Yeah.
A lot about the faces and voices. There's a lot of other things too. But when you're saying, I have a business that I can make better listing videos than the past 5 vendors that you choose, for example, right? Yeah. I'm like, that's not easy. But you guys are doing it well. And one of the things, so the subject is a house, no faces, no voices, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I see how you guys are using sort of like, I call it, I don't know if this is what people call it, but like attention resetters. So like switching between compositions from extra wide to close. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like just changing from the scale of this is the widest, this is the tightest, just move around on the scale. Yeah. So that kind of pace between compositions, as well as pace between duration of each clip, as well as camera movement, because a lot of it is like you're moving in, right? You're moving forward. You're getting closer.
Movement. Yes, movement is very important. Like your push-ins and your pull-outs are your bread and butter of a real estate
When do you
video.
decide when to push in or pull out?
When I'm editing.
Okay.
I'll reverse it.
Okay. That's the thing too. Like you can unless there's no like cars or airplanes or something where like, oh, why is that going backwards?
You know what? Sometimes you got to shoot a hostage. Like you just got to do it. You got to do it sometimes.
And a lot of people won't even know.
No.
They'll never know.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But it's basically there's a few movements, you know, it's like your push in, your pull out, your parallax, your pan up, pan down. And then now, you know, those are generally like with your wider lenses, and then you can throw on your 35 millimeter prime. And I still use that lens all the time. I used it last night.
Okay.
And I throw that on, and it's just, you know, when the house has some beautiful details, you can really show that off. And lately I've been using music with words, which was like an unheard of thing in real estate videos before. But I'm doing it. Like we're doing it. We're messing with it, and the feedback has been great.
Is that leaning into that lifestyle piece? Because I know that sometimes, like I think I heard Kolohe Kai on one of them. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I love showcasing local music for these local videos, right? All the music's there for us to use on Instagram for Reels.
Yeah,
They want you to use it.
You're right.
So, man, why not?
And having like, basically, if I were to paraphrase what you're saying, is like, I want the viewer to get a representation of what it's like to be in this house. Yeah. And part of that is hearing the music from the neighborhoods, for better or worse, whatever, you know what I mean? But like, the music is there. I feel like, you know, since music is limiting as far as the senses goes, like you're kind of using two, sight and sound. Yeah. But you're trying to supplement the other feelings, the smells, the taste, like Chef's Table in some ways. Yeah. And there's ways to do that technically with cameras and editing and sound that's what we do. And like one example is just, for example, switching to a prime lens, maybe open up the aperture a bit so you get a little more depth of field, and you can control, hey, look at this thing on the table, or look at this feature. And doing that in a way that like you guys do, I think it's something that only comes after you fuck up a lot.
Yes.
It's only
Oh,
after you
yeah.
tried so many,
Oh.
like you cannot skip the reps. It's like you're gonna do ugly pull-ups
Yeah.
until you're doing like
Yeah. If you want to see really bad
Yeah.
videos, scroll to the bottom of our Instagram.
okay.
You'll see like terrible, terrible videos. But it doesn't matter. Like we're just like, put it out. Let's put it out there.
Yeah.
Like let's do this. Like we're doing this thing. Like we can't be ashamed of everything that we do. Like we all have to start somewhere.
Here's another question. I've tried not listing videos per se,
Yeah.
but okay, here we're in a house, for example. So I'm getting B-roll.
Yeah.
So the stuff I do is, is mostly YouTube. There's people in it. So again, for attention hacking or attention resets, like it's very dialogue based. So I am editing videos the same way a writer would edit a paper.
Okay.
And that's something that I've tried outsourcing like with editing farms and stuff, like they don't get that part.
That's a hard part
because
to outsource.
They think it's just a video. Here's my raw footage and I'll cut it up and give it back. I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense if I were to read it. And so I'm thinking of all these things. It's very different.
Yeah.
But sometimes, a lot of times, if we're in a house, for example, then I want to get some B-rolls. Yeah. And when I am, I'm like, what would Mark do? No, for
that's
real,
huge.
For real. I'm like, what would Mark do? Because now I have to jump into this.
Reveals,
to this.
Reveals are always the best.
Reveals, the push in, push out.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. But here's the question.
Yeah.
How, when you don't have access to the light fixtures, because that's the easiest way to do it. I'll bring light bulbs that I can change the color temperatures in. But when you're battling with that outdoor daylight, that cool daylight, and you've got these tungsten light fixtures, maybe it's a chandelier, maybe it's in the sink, or not the sink. What do you call it? I don't know.
So like trying to showcase a window and trying to showcase
when you have two different color temperatures in the same shot, especially when you're on a wide, right? Kitchen, it happens a lot. You've got all this cool light coming in from the natural light source of the windows. Yeah. But it's mixing in with all this like warm lights that are like in
for sure.
How do you tackle that without changing the bulbs?
Exactly. Like, so one of the first things that I do is I go in when I'm editing, I'm gonna bring down highlights, I'm gonna bring up shadows, and then I go into my curves. For Adobe Premiere users, I'm gonna go in Lumetri Color. I'm gonna go into my curves, click on that orange light, and I just drop that orange like it's hot.
Okay.
Because the last thing people want to see is a dingy orange house because of these lights. And we're not changing them out. We ask people before, like we've been really fortunate to, I feel like the true essence of our business is like relationship based. And we've been working with, we moved back home to Hawaii. I called up Derek. I was like, Derek, let me shoot a real estate video for you. And he's like, okay. I was like, I know you were telling me about that new property that he flipped in Waikele. I mean, this was back in 2020. And he's like, okay. And that's how it started. Like we shot this one video, and I had this one relationship with one real estate agent who's my friend since we've been kids. And he's my real estate agent now. And he's letting me shoot a house to get practice. And then the next listing came up, and he's like, hey, I want to hire you. I want to hire you to shoot my video. I was like, for real? Yeah. And then he's like, hey, you're going to need to do photos too. And I was like, no, Derek, we don't do photos. And he's like, well, nobody's going to hire you. I was so pissed. I was like, fuck you. That's what I was thinking. Me and Derek, I've known him since we've been kids, so like we've always shot each other straight. And I was all my pride and my ego. I'm like, this guy telling me what I can and can't do. Like, and then somebody calls us. Yeah, I saw that video you did with Derek. You guys do photos too? Boom. I'm like, yeah.
Hey,
Malia,
babe.
You gotta figure out how to do this thing. And then that happened. But like our whole business has just been relationship based, and we're really fortunate to be able to work with these teams that we've been working with now for years. And some people we just started working with this week. Some people we've been working with for 2-3 years now. And the more that we work together, the more they just know. So they're going in there and changing out those light bulbs, and they are making the house look super nice. And then they're using the stagers that we're recommending.
So do the stagers know too? They onto that? Like, hey, let's make everything daylight. Or
That's a good question. I don't know.
I feel like
I should probably think about this more.
I mean, you're in a position to like make that happen more than I am, but
yeah,
that's for me, that's my not pet peeve, but it's something that I'm always like, fuck this house. Like the new builds in Ho'opili, for example.
Yeah. Oh,
bruh.
There's no lights.
I mean, and the ones that are there are like,
I'm like, why didn't they put recessed daylight in here? Bruh, that would have changed everything.
It's just, here's the thing. Like, I know what you're doing is a lot of times people don't see, again, they see the finishing, but before and after, there's stagers, which is like akin to having in a wedding thing. It's like having a hair and makeup artist.
Yeah.
Like how good would my videos be as a videographer at a wedding if there was no hair and makeup artist, if there was no florist, if there all these other pieces. And in real estate listing video side, it's similar where first the house, right?
First the house. Yep.
But then there's, for example, in this situation we're talking about, the stagers. And if the stagers knew, let's make everything daylight color. So when the videographer and photographer come, I guess for photos is a little bit easier.
Photos is easier to manipulate.
Wait, because one frame.
Yeah.
And with content aware and all this stuff, it's just blowing the doors open. And I think our time's coming for video. But right now, when you're incorporating camera movement, that's where it's like, oh man, the composition's changing because I'm moving the camera and like I'm looking from here to there. I'm revealing this and that. So the beginning of the clip and end of the clip could be very different.
Oh, it's a constant battle, and I don't get it right every time, but at the end of the day, you have to. It's like that balance that I've had to deal with a lot, where I'm like, I don't want to use this shot, and then I got Malia over there like, you got to use that shot. Yeah. Because you're not going to show the house. You're not going to do your job if you don't show the shot. Yeah, I don't like the way the white balance was because the lighting was coming from here and it was like a bright orange light coming from there, and I'm just mad. She's like, well, you gotta deliver. You gotta deliver it.
Another thing I like
by 7 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other thing with real estate, right? Can we get this? Can we get this afternoon? I'm like, oh no, but you get it tomorrow.
I love all those, like, I'm sure you probably pops up on your feed too on Instagram where it's like what the client thinks. You know, like you come home and it's like, boom, there it is.
Yeah.
But actually, I know there's a lot of process. One thing I think for people, like if you're listening and you're like, I'm getting into it, you can save a lot of time in post by planning in pre.
Yeah.
And in the field, making adjustments. And that's something that you just got to get your reps in. But being in how many houses you've been on, being in as many houses as you've been in, and as many job sites you've been on, I guess. One thing I like about most of what I see in your guys' feed is so I can't do it all the time because, again, my focus is a person and the narrative, the dialogue, the education piece, the culture. I can only get it from you, right?
I love that.
Versus pretty. So I will make concessions when I'm shooting, but if I wanted to do it like you, I see that you guys do it very well, is I like to see vertical lines vertical, true. And I don't like it when I see a fucking a wall that a line is like this or like this, because maybe you had like a 16 or 24 and you just did that, or you did that, you tilted it just a little bit too much, or your previous shot, whatever, you didn't center it.
You know what? That's really cool that you brought that up, because I didn't even think of that when I'm talking about push-ins and pull-outs and parallaxes. Leading lines in a home from a videographer standpoint or photographer standpoint it's like it's like finding a diamond. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, it doesn't have to be the most extravagant home to showcase so beautifully. And sometimes homes just have leading lines, and that's the, like, my plug to, like, agents to use stagers. Stagers, they're so good, and they're artists, and they will find these lines. And if they don't, they're going to create these lines. Mm. And man, it's going to make the world of difference in your media. The world of difference. With colors and lines. And
I know what it's like to step into a place for the first time and having the feeling of, it's like one of two feelings. It's like, this is gonna be easy,
Yep.
and also I can't shoot it yet. Like, I need to do 5 things first, right?
Oh, that's every shoot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right,
But
every shoot starts with 30 minutes of like moving things around. Not every shoot, but
a lot, right?
most.
Like you have to be used to that, right?
yeah. Oh, absolutely. You have to be okay with that.
And again, this is not you with a camera in your hand, but
No.
it's affecting what you deliver.
Yeah.
So it can't be understated how much you're working with these other pieces. And like, for a stager, of which like I am not that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
for staging or
That's
like
okay.
picking furniture and stuff. But I know from like a consumer point of view of like, this feels right.
Yeah.
Also, this is a picture already. I'm walking in a painting. Like, I recognize that when I am in it,
Yeah.
as well as when it's something a little off. Maybe, I don't know if I'm 6'2" and like my perspective
That's
different
true.
somewhere, but like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like I know being taller than average in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Not so much on the mainland, right? Kind
Yeah.
of like average-ish
People, I guess, are tall on the mainland.
but definitely in Japan, I was fucking
Way tall.
just giant, right?
Yeah.
So I understand like my literal perspective on the world is different. And sometimes one person pointed out to me when I was in Japan, actually, like, you're right. A lot of my shots are like looking down because that's literally what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. When it's me, it's one thing, but when it's the camera, it's another thing.
Bro, that's huge when you have someone who's 6'2" versus someone like me who's 5'7". That's a different perspective.
It is different, but I think when you're good, quote unquote, good at making media, you can find that like standard issue to put out into the world.
Yeah.
And like get rid of your personal bias. Mine is like this.
Yeah.
I see a lot of top of heads. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people see my nostrils. It's just my experience.
Yeah.
But when you're like the person who's actually manipulating and creating that and then delivering it, in your case, then being good is like, I can make what you need. Kind of like Chef's Table. I can cook what you need.
Yep. Yep.
And I can repeat it, most importantly.
Yeah.
And so the light temperature management,
Yep.
the leading lines. I love seeing cabinets that are like true,
So do I.
like up and down,
Yeah.
not like, you know what I mean? Like there's that, the use of, I think the composition scale of like extreme wide. So like basically aerial shots.
Yeah.
Cause the house is this big in the screen,
Yeah.
on the screen in the composition. But then we get to the point where it takes up the whole composition. We're inside. So that part, but the other question is, all right, so here's a house. Doesn't matter if it's 1 bedroom or 18 bedrooms.
Yeah.
How do you then decide where to? I'm thinking like, are you just putting your back in every corner and just pushing in and out, or like how do you decide where and what to shoot at what focal length?
Yeah. So in Hawaii, most of what you're shooting is gonna be 10 by 10, 10 by 12, 12 by 12 rooms. So basically, I'm always just trying to take the viewer on an experience that it's almost like they're there. So I try to start outside and work my way in. Sometimes I'll use a speed ramp, right? Which means we're zooming in, because that can save us a lot of time, because people don't want to sit through a 7-minute real estate video. People really don't want to sit through a 3-minute real estate video. Like
Any video, like
any video. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to keep people's attention really for more than 30 seconds. So that first 30 seconds has to be really good. And then they also have to be sort of like in the mindset of wanting something like that, right? Wanting to buy a house. They're like, oh, okay, wow, this is really good. I want to buy a house. I'm gonna take a look at this. And then so I'm gonna start, like we talked about, bringing people in, showing them Hawaii, showcasing the most special parts of the home. But then after that, we're cruising. We're breezing through. We're just showing them the potential of the property, and that now we're just hoping that they're gonna be like, ooh, I like that. I'm gonna talk to my agent or talk to the listing agent and say, hey, I want to go and check that out. And then from that point on, it's the ball's out of our court. Yeah. So I'm just cruising through these rooms. So I'm really just trying to make them, like I said, like look bigger and better than they are. And honestly, like as far as like making it look actual as possible. I'm trying to make it look as unreal as possible. Like I'm trying to make it look really good because, like if there's a hole in that wall, like I'm not gonna show it.
Yeah, literally.
I'm
Like,
just
yeah.
I,
You pointed at a wall with like 18 holes in it, but
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
I'm not gonna show it.
yeah.
You know, and that's the beauty of like doing the video. I think that's where like the beauty of doing the video as opposed to like it's funny because like people they'll ask us a lot like, oh, do you guys do Matterport? Like, no, we don't do Matterport. And we're like, but we do video. And then we show them and they're like, oh yeah, I want that because the video we can showcase this and we can make it a piece of art and we can showcase Hawaii. That's the difference, you know, like when you
So would you say it's less educational and more
you can say it's more
entertainment?
educational
It's okay.
because you're showcasing the lifestyle in the area and you're really showcasing Hawaii, and then you're coming into the house and giving people like the experience of walking through the home as opposed to this sort of 360 picture that you're like clicking through. And if I don't know,
What's
more educational, less educational, I don't know.
what's your if there is one, if maybe I'm just reading it wrong, but what's your gripe, if you will, against Matterport?
I personally, every time I would go to buy a house, because Malia and I, like everywhere we move, we've bought in a house and sold our house. And every time there's Matterport, I have never worked my way through it. I just can't. But that's a personal thing, I think. I'm just like, it doesn't do it for me. And then once in a while, you'd go and check out a property and there's like this good video. I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Gotcha.
So personally,
User interface.
yeah.
I get it. It's like I click there, but I don't know if I click here and then I turn around. Like, how do I?
Yeah.
It's the navigation and
And sometimes the little bubbles and like it's coded to the wrong spot. And you're outside.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Wait, why am I here now?
Why?
Yeah. I gotta admit, like the first time I have a friend in Kyoto, Japan, right?
Uh-huh.
Shout out to Alessandro. He put me on this. I think I was still in Japan actually. So this is like, I don't know, 9 years. I don't know. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away. Like that's just a technology standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay, this is cool. You mean I can walk through that temple right now?
Yeah.
Type of feeling, right?
Yeah.
But like you, I was like, how do I move though?
Yeah.
Like when he was like, oh, look at this and you can do this. I'm like, just watching, like, that's cool. Almost felt like what now today we have the FPV drones, right? It kind of
Yeah.
felt like a version of that.
Yeah.
But I like how you have the interface of like, you can it's like a museum. You can click on this dot info pops up. Maybe there's a link, maybe there's a video, maybe there's supplemental media that comes up and stuff. So like
that's cool.
I see that as very, very useful. And I'm sure a lot of governments, a lot of schools, a lot of institutions,
yeah.
that there's a place for
There's
that.
a place for it.
In real estate in Hawaii, I see there's people who are out there. I've seen ads, you know, hey, we do Matterport and all of that.
Yeah.
So I know it's here.
It's here.
But as someone like yourself who's like in it, I just wanted to hear your sort of 2 cents on it because it's a great tool. But maybe my concern is like maybe it's just not the real estate market. I guess there's no one using it the way.
I never
is the
thought
market
about
not
it
ready?
the way that you're talking about it right now, where you can make it more interactive. Because how cool would that be? Like,
Yeah.
like how, yeah, that could be that. There's some really cool ideas that you can have, like walking into a space and then clicking on something, and then
Yeah.
something pops up like, hey, this is this, and this is why this is here.
Imagine if Bishop Museum had that.
Yeah.
And I know they're going to say, hey, well, then that means no one's going to come to our establishment anymore. I'm like, well,
No.
you could still monetize these
Yeah.
things, right? As
Yeah.
far as business goes, right? You can still monetize exhibitions. You could have virtual only exhibitions, and it would give me, and not just me, but like everyone in the world who has internet, access,
Right.
right, to this thing that you have.
Oh man, that would
And
be
then
so cool.
like as far as an educational tool, I'm like, yo, Matterport, that's amazing.
yeah.
Now, where do you draw the line? Because imagine if Google Maps, you already zoom in and, you know, you go to city street views and all that. But
I
if
do
you could
that.
just go one more down that iteration. Now I'm in Bishop Museum. Now I'm in this listing over there.
That would
And
be
I can,
super cool.
yeah. And then it's like, boom, click here, call agent now. Or it's like, boom, click here, play this Mark Peer video.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your video's embedded in there.
Right, man. I never even thought about it like that.
To me, I'm like, why is something so powerful, so invisible? Like no one's, you're the first person I heard say that word or like knows what it is.
Right.
I don't know how many weeks have gone by. You know what I mean? Like probably months. It's almost like Bitcoin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, if you say it, it's right over a lot of people's heads, but the people who know are like, yeah, let's talk about it.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
now I'm like in a fringe group or some shit.
Right.
But I just feel that not just FPV drones, Matterport, but these kind of immersive.
Yeah. What's like so I bought the DJI Avata.
Oh,
and
what is that?
that's the FPV.
Okay.
And it's like literally in the box at my house.
You scared? Why?
Yeah.
You scared?
I don't know. I put the goggles on and I was like, whoa.
I have an
I need
Oculus.
to use it.
I use it 3 times. Cannot sit.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just a land creature because my friend took me on a boat a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I am a land animal through
Yeah.
and through.
Yeah.
I had that same feeling with the Oculus.
Really?
And I was like,
What is that Oculus?
it's a
like a VR headset?
It's a headset. Yeah,
Okay.
a VR headset.
Okay.
So you can play games. Like I played a fishing game. I played like lightsaber or some, I don't know. I played
But it just spun you out.
a shooter game.
Yeah.
I had to sit down. And it even has like one of those things like, hey, if this is your first time, like sit your ass down.
Really?
Because
you see the video. I've
Yeah.
seen the videos.
You see people running into walls and stuff.
Yeah.
But still, like, even if you're sitting down, even the fishing game, I'm sitting down and it's just like you're looking at a lake or whatever, and you can like sight fish basically, right?
Oh,
And you're like, choose this lure, da 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 da. I feel like, oh, this is what it's going to be. Like, this is normal for like our kids, for example.
yeah.
I guess your kids a little older than mine, but like for mine, 7 and 5, I'm like, this is probably what their experience is going to be like when I was like Super Nintendo Mortal Kombat.
For sure.
Kind of,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just here now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt that kind of like punch, like, ooh, this is you get used to this. I couldn't. That's why it's still in the garage. Like, I should just give that to my niece already because
Yeah.
I haven't put that thing on. I saw the FPV when it came out, like the news, right? And I'm like, ooh. One, I've already crashed 2 drones.
Oh, yeah, me too.
It's out there in the ocean right now. Like, if you're a diver, you can maybe retrieve. There's no footage on it, but like, crashed 2 drones. So I'm like, actually 3. One wasn't mine. Actually 4. Damn. Well, now that I'm thinking about it, I crashed a lot of drones. But I also fly a lot.
Yeah.
So it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
But the FPV drone, I was like, ooh, I was tempted. I almost hit buy now. I didn't because I was like, I just told myself, like, the same reason, like, all this stuff is just, to me, it's like we're kind of hit the peak of leaning on tech. And now it's like, what do you have to say?
Yeah.
Okay? Because the day one person can match your pixels, right?
They can.
But what do you have to say?
Yeah.
What is the message behind it? What are you telling me that I haven't heard in this freaking oversaturated world that's online?
Yeah.
Give me that. And
Yeah.
that doesn't require technology.
No.
That's an inward
That's
journey.
really cool. Yeah.
That's something I think you tap into, for me at least, with writing. It's there's no electronics around when I'm like, feel like I'm getting an edge.
Yep. Yep.
Even though I have the tech there. So like the FPV drone to me was more like, and what?
Yeah.
And like, so what are you gonna do with, what are you gonna tell me with this new tool? And I think that's something everybody who's got a shopping cart full online right now.
Right? We all do.
It's like,
yeah.
what are you gonna do with that stuff though?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that you can't already do with what you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Difficult thing.
Dude, I gotta say, like, just sort of like coming up, like, and seeing you and knowing, I've known Taisei for a long time. I still remember the first time I met Taisei. I was coming out of the water at White Plains, and My little sister Cody was on the beach with Taisei and Melissa and Auntie Carol, and I met Taisei, and then I started following you, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is doing like insane work. And then I started following Swiss In,
Oh yeah.
and then I saw all the work that you guys did with Swiss In, and I'm just like, I've just been like blown away by what you've done. And then you did, man, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like in the mainland. It was a documentary with physical therapists or chiropractors.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
dude, that was the closest thing to like that made me think of the chef's table thing, because I watched it and I was like, bro, this is insane. Like, what are you? And then I reached out to you. I was like, what? I said, did you shooting in log? What are you doing? Like,
Dude.
and you were like, no, I've got this going on. I'm shooting with this. I'm shooting with the FX3.
That like that was a Gonstead documentary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the book is right there, Gonstead, which is, shout out to Dr. Aki, Cornerstone Chiropractic. He's the one who basically greenlighted that.
Okay.
And he's part of a nationwide board of chiropractors, right?
Okay.
And so he's on that board, and he got them to greenlight it and fund it and all that stuff. And so then me and Dr. Aki's relationship is like, I give his local, he has 4 branches now in Hawaii.
Okay.
On Oahu.
I see the Cornerstone van all the time at Ali'i's.
Yeah.
He must be surfing out there.
Yeah.
Is that him?
Everybody's seen his Sprinter van.
I see
You
it.
know what I
I
mean?
literally see it
Yeah.
like every day. I'm like, how do I see this every day?
He's a genius marketer.
Okay.
And so I was the video muscle for a lot of what he was doing with his personal practice here in Hawaii. But he thought, like, hey, why don't you help the nationwide narrative of what I'm a part of?
Wow.
Which is what you saw. And so that involved me traveling to Iowa. No, wait.
I was
Wisconsin.
gonna say it looked like Midwest.
Yeah, no, it was Wisconsin.
Like, there was like water tanks.
Yeah.
And
It was Mount Horeb,
okay.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know where that is, but I'm flying 8 hours or whatever, right? For me, it was almost like a confirmation of where I've come to this point, because that's actually the second documentary I did.
Okay.
I did one in 2015 when I was still in Japan, crowdfunded it. Talk about taking a leap. I think it was $4,000 or $5,000 of my own money.
Yeah.
Which was like everything I had.
Yeah.
I was already in the brokest point, like 3-year stretch of my life. The kind where like I was doing math every time I went to the supermarket.
Yeah.
And I knew how much tomatoes and onions and pasta cost.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, this is the opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'm going in.
Yeah.
And crowdfunded another $12K.
Ah, so
and
cool.
then we did a documentary on Jack Pae, who
What is that?
is this.
Who's that?
He is born in Reunion Island,
Okay.
which a lot of people don't know where that is. I didn't know either, but it's a small island just kind of east of Madagascar.
Okay.
South of the Marseilles Islands. I think I said that right.
I know there's
They speak
good surf
French.
there.
I
know
bet.
the French.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know they speak French.
It's
and I
a
know
French
there's good surf.
department, which is like, I guess what like American Samoa or Guam or Puerto Rico is to
Okay.
America.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
it's like, anyway, he was born and raised there and then moved to Kyoto, Japan to chase his dreams of becoming a Aikido master.
Okay.
After seeing a video of Shiota Gozo, who is considered like one of the grandfathers of Aikido.
Wait, what is Aikido?
It's a martial art.
Okay.
And so basically you have this guy on this island who gets enamored by this person in the film, decides to take a leap. That's what I was like, this is the narrative of this documentary.
Okay.
Taking the leap.
Yeah.
This is just one example of one guy taking a leap. It just so happened it led to this country of Japan, and it was through Aikido, this martial art, right? And so I made that documentary in 2015, and then I was like, it was so much work, because now I'm doing everything, right? not everything. I got to shout out to Nick. Nick helped me out a lot with the graphics and a lot of the back end stuff too, websites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I just thought, oh, cool
You
video.
just do it.
I thought like I made a 5-minute video for you. I can make a 50-minute video for
Yeah.
you. But then we unpacked everything that needed to happen logistically.
Yeah.
But after whatever, like a year or something that took, I came out of that experience with just like, I felt like I went through boot camp. I've never been in a I never served in the armed forces. I don't know what that's like. Sorry if, like I can't use that term as someone who's been there.
I think you can.
But it felt like I did everything that I never thought I could have done, but I did it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't ever to the point of like perfection. I never felt like I killed it.
But that's okay.
But I did it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so from that moment, I was like, I don't have to like kill it every freaking time.
Man,
but I gotta do
huge.
it. I gotta deliver. I gotta show. I gotta at least show up, hit the finish line.
Oh,
and
man.
then start again.
Yeah.
Because I did it.
Yeah.
And so what you saw was like the second iteration. Because now I was like, oh,
it was good.
Same thing-ish. Some guy starts a thing, gains a following, right? I was like, oh, wait, I did this before. So I had a little bit of advantage or like experience coming into that. And I knew a little bit more about storylines and talk about buying courses. Like I went in on storytelling, documentary, and nonfiction storytelling, basically, right?
Okay.
Because that's a whole thing, right?
It's a
whole thing.
It's an amazing thing.
Chef's Table is kind of like that.
It's an amazing thing to do that, to make a documentary style work of art that tells a story about like a human experience, and especially like people who are masters of their craft.
And that's kind of like walking into that $10 million Kahala home where it's like a lot of the work is done. It's just my job to shine the light on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the person in the documentary or let's say a medical practice.
Yeah.
A lot of people are already doing the work. Yeah. I want to be invisible, like whatever. I'm messing up the quote, sorry, but like good design is 99% invisible.
Okay.
I feel that's the same for good work, good art, good creativity.
Yeah.
It's like, it's invisible because all that's recognizable or what stays in the psyche of the person who consumes it is what it is, the essence.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, the better the house, the better the story, the better the character, the easier it is for me. But that's not true because there's still a lot of work.
There's still a lot of work to do.
There's still just a lot of like
but
grinding.
I love that you're like, I just got to put it out. It's not going to be perfect. But I got to put it out because you know what? It doesn't need to be perfect. The story just needs to be told. And
I think that's why I kind of don't go as crazy in the shopping carts anymore because it doesn't, to a certain degree, yeah. Like what you said, like if you have a 70D, it's probably better to get a 5D or a 1DX.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't need the C100, 200. Like you don't need a red.
No.
So there's that sweet zone of what it is that what are you trying to say? Yep. Who are you trying to connect with? Let's start there. Oh, well then and what's your budget? There's somewhere we can meet in that. Yeah. And you can, now that's how you kill it, that combination of all these things, not just spring for the $40,000 camera and think you're going to have that Netflix contract.
My first question is like, well, how come you can't do it with your phone? And then if they can answer that question, well, I can't do it on the phone because this, I'll say, okay, then okay, maybe we try to go for something like this. Or I'm like, oh no, you can't do that on your phone. You just got to change your settings.
So what do you say? How do you respond to that when someone's like, oh, why can't I just do that on my phone? Or do people even say that to you? Like,
what's that?
If someone was to say, I can just do it. Like let's say a listing agent.
Oh,
say, I got the iPhone 15.
I say do it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, because, man,
go for it.
Like, it's like, I might be a bad salesman. I'm not a salesman. I'm just, like, we're just doing our thing, you know? But usually, like, the people, like, we're not, our business model, we're not sliding into people's DMs. I'm not going through you know, I'm not going through the list of all the top agents and cold calling them, like, and maybe to a fault, right? Maybe to a fault. But what I've noticed that has happened within our business, which is beautiful, and like I literally like, I think Malia and I pinch ourselves every day, is that we work with clients who have seen our work and they see the value in our work and the value in having like this like relationship with us, and that's our clients. Like that's our client base.
You know, I think there's another kind of fork in the road when you're, let's say you're building something like an online company, you're in marketing, you have a business, whatever, is inbound, outbound. A lot of times you're doing a combination of these things.
Yeah.
For us on the YouTube channel, it's inbound 100%.
What does that mean?
Inbound meaning you can think of it like a magnet. I think of it like a magnet. I'd rather build a magnet like this channel, 100 Bad Videos, is a magnet to draw people like Mark Peer. Because you see it, you fuck with it, and you're like, yeah. Like, so it's inbound.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with people coming towards me. To me.
Oh,
I'm dealing with people coming to me. Versus me going out, sending mailers, cold calling, hey stranger, DMing. Like, that's outbound.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with people coming to me.
That's beautiful.
Because I'm building something
very
purposefully and intentionally that will attract. It's like fishing.
It's the best. You know what I'm saying? It's the best. Yeah.
So outbound, inbound, our YouTube channel is inbound, right? We're building something that will attract a specific kind of person.
Yeah.
Someone who wants to relocate, someone who's moving back home to Hawaii. They see the channel, they see the videos consistently over time. And then it's a no-brainer when it's time to make that transaction.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat disruptive. I think Derek speaks about it a lot more eloquently because he's actually in the transactions. I'm the video partner.
Yeah.
But he's in the real estate transactions, right?
Yeah.
Him, Mahe, Kenny, Aiden, like these agents. I'm an agent too. Like we're both agents too, right? But like I'm a video guy.
Yeah.
I'm a video guy on a team.
Yeah. Wow, that's a cool thing.
That we build that inbound faucet.
Yeah.
It takes time. It's not easy. And like a lot of people, there's a lot of examples of people doing it successfully, but success is so subjective.
Right.
Because there's small teams, one person kind of, I just sit in front of I have a camera on my laptop, but I just show up on my YouTube channel and they have enough to eat, right?
Yeah.
But that idea of like building something that attracts is, I think, what a lot of people feel attracted to online. There's just so much content out there today, which is like that promise is, hey, have people coming to you. Yeah. Have people coming to you.
Right.
Do what I do.
Right.
Here's my 10 steps.
Right.
And that's only possible because of technology. So even though I kind of like shit on technology, a lot of ways I'm like, I'm not shitting on it.
There needs to be a balance though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only possible because of the connectivity technology allows us. Yeah. The kind of scalability that technology, which every video is a clone of yourself.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So I can have these conversations 24/7, 365 while I'm sleeping because I have this, right?
Yeah.
So all of those kind of perspectives, now it's just, I see it as just levers on the playing board. Like, how am I going to move these levers to fit what I'm trying to do with my resources?
Yeah.
Mainly time.
Yeah.
Because you can
Dude,
hear that they just came home, right?
Like time is, what is it? Like our most valuable commodity.
Anybody shooting, that's your biggest obstacle, biggest hurdle is time. Because you can shoot anything with enough time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But how are you going to do it in this window that someone else is controlling?
Right. Yeah.
So that's
There's
why
challenges.
Even with editing, I'll give myself a window and say, at the end of this window, it's gone. It's delivered. It's emailed. It's sent. It's posted. It's live. Otherwise, I'm going to take forever.
Yep.
What
do they say? The last 20% takes 80% of the time. Man, and it's the truth. It's the truth. You have to set those deadlines because if not, you'll be, like you said, you'll be working, you will be fine tuning, and guess what? You're the only one who's gonna notice.
Exactly.
You're the only one. And not to say like put out stuff that you're not proud of, but as a professional, you have to, part of being a professional is delivering on time. And that's the biggest part. Like Malia and I, we had our doubts. I remember Malia actually had more doubts than me when we actually started the business side of it, because she said, man, there's so much people out there who are so talented making such beautiful videos and taking such beautiful photos. And I'm like, I know, they are. I said, but what we're gonna do, like, never mind them. Like, what we're gonna do is like, we're gonna do our best, and we're gonna make a product that people can count on, and we're gonna deliver on time, and we're gonna answer our phone. We're not gonna gouge clients. We're gonna be a real business that people want to work with, and we're gonna do our best. We're gonna do our best to showcase Hawaii, and man, like that's like basically our mission statement at this point.
Yeah.
Because you know what? There's always somebody better.
No matter what.
There's always somebody
no
better.
matter what. I like soccer. I grew up playing soccer.
Yeah.
And so the GOAT conversation, especially when Messi's moved to MLS, Ronaldo's moved to Saudi Arabia, like those were the two top contenders for GOATs. And then when Messi won the World Cup, I was like, okay, kill the debate. Messi is the GOAT.
Yeah.
He's got every trophy. He's done it all. And still, there's going to be people who say no.
Yeah.
And so like, that's my point. Is like, there's never, or I should say, there's always someone better.
Always.
And so
always.
You still got to show up and play though.
Yeah.
You still got to get your game time in. That's what you can control. You can't control the critics, the ratings, the standings. You know what I mean? Like the conversations in the garage with the guys with the Heinies. Like, no way. We love those conversations.
Yeah.
It's like top 5 MCs. Come on. Like, it's just to have the conversation.
Yeah.
So might as well be a part of it.
Yeah.
Right? Jump in and be mentioned in that conversation. But know that there's never, it reminds me of impertinence, like wabi sabi, which is fitting, seeing that we have some clay. Is this pottery? Oh, man.
I think so.
Steph's going to be so pissed at me. I can't. The imperfections that come with something that's handmade are what make it.
What make it perfect.
What make it perfect.
Yeah.
The imperfections make it perfect.
Yeah.
And so if you're making video, don't measure yourself up to someone else's video, right? Measure yourself up to the video you did last time.
Yeah.
All right, now it's another benchmark. Let's do another one. So on that note, like, what can we expect then from you and Malia in, like, let's say 2025?
Oh, that's a good question.
Moving forward.
Yeah, that's a good question. I was scared you were gonna ask me this, because I like, you know, like sometimes you just don't know, and like that's kind of where I'm at. Like I really just man, okay, I heard something the other day where it's like you can drive across the country at night in your car and your headlights are shining 200 feet in front of you. You can still get across the country, and because I've been kind of beating myself up over this, for real. Like, for like once in my life, it sounds so it's like crazy for me to say it out loud, but I don't have like this grand vision. And I've always had it, like literally since I've been 15 years old. I've always been like I'm gonna do this. Like Malia and I, when we were 15, we're like, we're gonna go to Africa. We're gonna shoot a documentary, and we did it. We like raised money and we did it. And then come back from Africa, hey, get engaged to Malia, realize, okay, what's next? Okay, got a vision. I'm gonna join the Coast Guard, and I'm gonna do the rescue swimmer program, and I'm gonna graduate, and we're gonna move back to Hawaii, and we're gonna start our family. And we did it. And then we started Pure Films, and it's like, oh, we got this vision. And then now we're just like, we're like kind of like in this machine, and I kind of right now just have the headlights 200 feet in front of me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Now,
That,
I love the visual of that because it's so true.
yeah,
Maybe it's too far
yeah,
to say, and really, we all only can see like the figurative 200 feet in front of us, right?
I
The
know what
way-
I want. I know like there's things in life that I want.
Yeah.
Like I know I want for like material things, which like for some reason for so long I was so like felt so guilty talking about like things that I wanted. But like now like I know like I want a beach house on Mokuleia to raise my family in, and then to get older, and then for my kids to have kids and be able to like just have this beautiful space,
like on compound on the beach.
compound on the beach
Yup.
that we can just be in the ocean every single day, fishing, surfing, diving.
Hey,
That's what I
sounds-
want.
Okay. Yeah. That's the North Star then.
That's the North Star.
got it,
Yeah, and
got it.
I honestly feel like I know in my heart that the 200 feet headlight right now, that's enough. That's enough to get us there. Like
Trust.
I don't know exactly how, but I just know that's
I think for me too, it has a family aspect, like of an estate.
yeah.
Here in Hawaii, we know we need a lot more dollars in the bank to
It's a
get there.
big deal.
But
it's a big deal here.
But
yeah,
that's the North
yeah.
Star. Is like, mom's house is over there. We have the shared garden over there.
Yep.
We have the people looking
Yes.
after like the farm. We have our
Yes.
responsibilities, duties.
Yes.
Multi-generational.
Yep.
In Hawaii, everyone is familiar with multi-generational living.
Yep.
I think it more because it's a necessity
Yeah.
for a lot of people here
Yeah.
than let's say other places in America. But multi-generational living in a space that's not confined to one single family home,
Yep.
right? But is right there accessible to the ocean.
Yeah.
That to me, that's a lot of what you said is same as me.
Yeah.
Mokuleia, I haven't like dialed it into Mokuleia yet, but considering the places on this island as well as I'm open to other islands too.
Yeah.
We're actually going Big Island next week.
Yeah.
So we're gonna check out the crater, go all the way
it's
down South
beautiful.
Point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
You gonna
just
ulua fish down in South Point?
hey, I'm bringing the fam, so I don't know if I can go hard like all night. You know what I
you
mean?
do.
I want to.
I know you guys
I want
do,
to.
man.
I want to, but I'd probably just take the small spinner. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Just to sample.
Catching Omulu while
Yeah,
you're there. Yeah.
maybe we'll see. Just you gotta whip.
Yeah.
You gotta whip.
Bro,
One
I
whip,
bring my
one
whipping
dunk.
pole when I go out of island.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last time I went to Maui, I brought my whipping pole. Didn't catch anything, but I whipped.
Oh, wait, so how did you pack it? Did you get the tube that? Like, how did you?
I bought a collapsible, the cheap one.
Oh, okay.
I just bought a cheap one, collapsible, and then I just just got the clear float that you fill up with water, the bomber. Yeah.
Little bubble float.
That's it.
There you go,
That's it.
cuz.
Yeah.
I was just using that yesterday in by Yokes on the west side, and like, I just love how. First of all, there's not too many places left on this island
Yeah.
that are like quote unquote secluded.
Yeah.
Especially coastal Oahu.
Yeah.
Like it
Yep.
ain't
It's
really
tough. Yeah. Yeah.
as you know with real estate, like
Yeah.
very familiar.
Yeah.
Real estate plus events, like I've been everywhere on this island, right? I think there's very few places left
Yeah.
that have that evoke that feeling that you'd get if you went to Kauai,
Yeah.
Maui,
Yeah.
Big Island, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think a lot of the global image of Hawaii is. But when you land in Oahu, you're like, oh, what? Sunscreen, trash, exhaust fumes. Like there's humans everywhere.
Everywhere.
So it's kind of hard to get. And part of the North Star is like less of that. Less
Absolutely.
of that.
Yeah. More of the people who are super important to you in your life, just like surrounded by your people,
And then having that kind of I guess freedom, mobility to just be like, hey, come over for a week.
Yeah.
Extend that invitation to someone.
That's the best thing ever.
Come over and
That's the best thing ever.
then experience
Yeah.
the fishing, the surfing, the diving,
Yeah.
the
That's
farming.
like part of being from Hawaii is like sharing this beautiful place with people, like, but sharing like like from a true local boy's perspective of like, no, this is the real Hawaii. Like this is actually the real Oahu. Like Hanama Bay is not. I mean, it
close the
is.
door.
That's okay.
Hanama Bay is killer.
It is. But you know,
Hanama Bay,
it's amazing.
I think, there should be more Hanama Bays.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, I know the literal bays are limited to the geography of the land, but the conservation piece,
Yeah.
I think, should be way more ubiquitous. Like, not just here on Oahu, Hanama Bay is the only place I thought of where it's like, that's the place you can't fish.
Yeah. And
Right?
Sharks Cove.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I was there. I was like, wait, is
Yeah.
that sign say I can't? You know what I mean?
Growing up, we
I
fished
didn't
at
know.
Sharks Cove.
And I was like, wait, I think it does say you can't
Yeah.
fish here.
Yeah. Cannot. Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's like what, 2 spots? Okay, I think Heia Fish Pond.
Fish ponds.
I'm sure I'm missing other spots.
But no, I don't.
But
I don't
there's
think,
not much.
I think in Waikiki, there's like they have like roving zones.
Yeah.
But our fisheries is not very like regulated. And honestly, like I don't really have like the hugest opinion on all of it, really.
But I mean,
Yeah.
you're an ocean person.
Yeah.
You're in the Coast Guard.
Yep.
Fish, surf, dive.
Yep.
Check. Like, the ocean is part of your life.
Oh, that's everything to me.
And so every day you're somewhere near it or in it.
Yeah.
Like,
Pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, that's why you moved to Wailua, right?
Yeah. Well, we moved to Wailua because Malia and I, we always grew up going to Mokuleia because that was our getaway. Because we talk about people and escape.
Yeah.
That was our getaway. And then so it was like during COVID times, we moved back to Hawaii. We bought a little condo in Mililani. It's super nice, really nice. We made it all good. And we weren't happy.
Leilani wasn't doing it for you.
No. And then Malia found this little fixer-upper in Wailua. She goes, hey, let's do this. I called Derek.
Yeah.
Derek, hey, I need to sell my
close.
house. He goes, okay. I was like, but I need to make like over 100 grand off it. He's like, well, you're not gonna do that. I was like, yes, I am, Derek. And he's like, all right, let's try. And then we did it, and we did it.
Nice.
We made it, and then we were able to like take that nest egg and fix up the house. And man, talk about like just a small stepping stone. But we were able to fix up our little house and build my mom a little house on the property.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
she lives there too. So we talk about that multi-generational living. Like my mom lives on property with us, but she has her own house. It's awesome.
You guys get chickens.
Yeah. Oh, but the neighbors all have enough for all of us.
Okay,
And they're
okay.
all, they for some reason they love our yard the most.
So they lay the eggs in your yard.
Yeah, we don't. No,
Or-
someday we have a pretty small yard, but no, we don't have a chicken coop. But so, a few of the neighbors have chicken coops, and
Oh, see that.
bro, we have a bunch of banana trees, and we have an avocado tree and papaya, and we harvest some fruit. It's moving to Wailua has been the most positive experience on us. Like, it was the best thing we could have ever did.
What? Because I was just there earlier this week at Mokuleia,
Yeah.
and it was just for like a two-hour whipping sesh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just one of those, like, let me decompress, just walk this
Yeah.
feet in the sand,
Bro, I know that.
lines out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know that.
Bolo, nothing, right?
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
That's okay.
And but I was just like, yo, there's a certain amount of, I think, education that is lost on us if we just stay in the classroom.
Yeah.
And it's like you're hyper conscious about it when you have kids, because you're like, now I have to be an educator, a steward
Absolutely. Yeah.
to these humans.
Yeah.
And part of what I connect with moving back home, similar, like you moved back home, right?
Yeah.
You spent a lot of time away from Hawaii, but you came back.
Yeah.
So for me, that coming back home to Hawaii, it was like, how connected was I before I left? And the fact that I've actually connected with other places in the world,
Yeah.
other like beaches, other
Yeah.
mountains, other rivers,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in the world, now I realize how special Hawaii is.
Man.
And I need to get in it more.
Yes.
And I was just freaking sponging at Sandy's all the time before I left.
Yeah.
My old baseball coach took me and my bro Ty diving over here at West Side.
Yeah.
And like my soccer coach, shout out to David Galderama, Y and I took us hunting with the dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What an
So, like,
experience.
all these little experiences that I had as a kid that I didn't fully grasp like the gravity.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, that was so
Priceless.
amazing.
Yeah.
To be up in the moonlight in some mountains, no trail, just hearing dogs
Oh.
moving around, like not knowing if they're gonna get a boar or not. Being in the ocean, low visibility, like holding a spear gun and like, should I shoot it? I don't even know how to reload it. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
all of these, like all of these experiences that I had then, now is more valuable to me, and I want to perpetuate those in a very like sustainable way, because it's hard to. That's the thing, man. Like it's hard not to buy gas.
You have to.
It's hard not to sometimes losing lead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're fishing.
Yeah.
Snag a line. Like these things happen.
Yeah.
But especially when you say Mokalia, I'm like, that's one of the places on this island where I can kind of feel, and even Yokes, when I went Yokes the other day.
Yeah.
It's the other side of
It's
Mokalia. It's the other side, right?
It's a mile away.
Yeah, it's so close.
Yeah.
But
it's connected, I guess.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I think about, like, there's this phase, I think every fisherman probably goes through it, when it's like you get your first rod from Walmart.
Yeah.
And then you get the next one, and then you're like, wait, should I get a kayak? Wait, should I? Do I need a boat?
Yeah.
Wait, you know what I mean? Should I go diving?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I know some people who hunt. It just is an entryway into something that's so primal, especially for dudes, fathers. Like,
man,
it don't matter how your entryway into this thing is.
We
it could
need
be
it.
through bow hunting. It could be through like fishing,
need it.
surfing. I feel like there's just so many entries to this unexplainable, especially Hawaii thing, where we just want to tap in as much as possible.
Yeah.
And if you can do that with your family right next to you in the same place,
bro, it's the best.
But it's not cheap. So I get it. Like there's that conversation too, where it's like making money in real estate in Hawaii.
Yeah.
You can get heat for that.
Yeah.
And
there's gonna be like,
it's understandable.
There's gonna be haters.
Always.
Bro, I dealt with like identity issues because of it. Yeah. Because of being in the industry at first. And I'm like, what? I'm tripping. You know what I mean? Like, because there's like all these different sides to it, right? There's the side where, you know, there's these outside investors buying properties in Hawaii. And yes, that's true. And like that is hurting. I think that's hurting the people of Hawaii. But like I feel like most of the people that we've been working with, it's just families. It's like families like buying and selling their homes. And to me it's like, bro, to be a family in Hawaii and to be able to buy a home, it's like us growing up in Hawaii, like that's a big deal.
It's huge.
It's a huge deal to be able to buy a home. And now like I'm like, you know what? I have there's no like bad energy, no bad feelings, because like, man, I'm like, we're working with all these like really awesome people. And I've seen real estate agents put on blast, and I've seen the same real estate agents bend over backwards and work twice as hard, 10 times as hard to help local families like get into homes. I'm like, this is some solid people. These are there's some like really solid people in this industry who genuinely like care about people, care about Hawaii, and love this place and are from this place, and like have an opportunity to help people from Hawaii and are doing it. And like I'm like at the point where like I'm super proud to be like where I'm at right now, and to be able to do this thing. Like never did I think that I'd be able to feed my family and pay for my mortgage with my camera. Like that's why like I'm like, I think I started this thing with like, so I gotta pinch myself sometimes thinking about it, because like Malia and I, we get to work together every single day. We get paid to use our cameras. We get drop the kids off at school and we pick them up from school, like, and we take them surfing. Like it's amazing, dude.
Hey, and that's the life that you built though. That took the leap for.
Yeah.
Like multiple times. I'm sure there's multiple points where you're like, safe route. Yeah. Especially with like Coast Guard.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is part of like the inbound conversation again is like, I feel like just having this kind of conversation is giving the people like us who decided to just wear a black shirt. This wasn't coordinated. See, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, bruh, the people who this resonates with needed to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, just needed to see another example of someone who did it. Or correction, is doing
He's
it.
doing it. Yeah.
Because it's a process that if you let off the gas, and then it's gonna revert back to something that doesn't get you closer to that North Star.
Yep.
And like, you know, it's fuel for the creative, but also I think I like how you're putting a lot of the business perspective on it, because
The business
to
perspective
be,
is huge.
I mean, you can't ignore the dollar, right?
No.
And whenever you kind of demonize someone who is getting dollars,
Yeah.
that's not constructive,
No.
right?
No.
And so take that playbook. A lot of times, like you said, like the courses that you bought, that's someone who's like, I done it. This is how I did it.
Yeah.
Figure it out. You can take pages from my playbook. Here, it's available to you, right?
Yeah.
And you saw the value, or Malia saw it. She bought it, right?
She bought it.
So-
I was like, no. She bought it.
But-
the best thing we ever could have did.
And so like having this kind of, for me, a lot of the troubles that I have still, it's not like I overcame it, but it's my relationship with money
Okay.
in terms of like, I would say worth. Like, is it worth it? The number is, to me, is
Right.
subjective.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like $500, that's super cheap
Yeah.
for a car,
Yeah.
but super expensive for a coffee.
Yeah.
So it's just, what am I getting for it though?
Yeah.
And if I think, okay, well, on the other side of that, what if I can talk to someone, figure out where their pain point is, where they're hurting,
Yeah.
what they could use help with,
Yeah.
and then focus on that. If I deliver that piece, money is a consequence of that. But I come in like feeling more like kind of therapeutic. I kind of hesitate to use the word, but in some ways it is therapeutic, because I feel like there was a lot of help that happened in that relationship.
Yeah.
You needed something,
Yeah.
I could do it.
Yes.
And you know what? I like doing it. In fact, I enjoy doing it.
Isn't that perfect?
Boom. And then money is a consequence. But when it's done right,
Yeah.
quote unquote right, is when your money grows.
Yeah.
How much you gave me, you get back plus some.
Everyone's winning.
And then I got my compensation for what I've
Yep.
given you.
Yeah.
So that kind of like, that flow, at first it's hard to commit to, because you think like,
is.
I'm taking.
Bro, yeah. You got this like imposter mindset where like, I can't charge this much, even though I know in my heart I'm worth it, but I don't want to charge it because I'm scared of what someone's going to think of me charging this much.
How do you have that conversation when someone's like, okay, how much does it cost?
I just tell them how much it costs. Which goes back to like us niching into real estate and like having this business and having like repeatable products. It's much easier for us because I could say, hey, like, what are you trying to do? Oh, I want photos, video, aerial, drone. So we have this package. It's our full package, and it starts at $650, and then it goes up with the size of the house, and it's very simple. And they're like, oh well. Actually, 9 times out of 10, they're like, let's do it.
Okay.
And it just makes it really simple for me and Malia.
Where did you fail in your pricing strategy?
I would say we've just have undervalued ourselves tremendously for a very long time. And what that does is, number one, that hurts you, right? Because you're taking your time and you're giving your time away. Your time needs to be compensated. And then number two, what that does is it puts like this slight resentment inside of you, and you almost spin the blame onto the client. You say, well, I only charge this much and they want me to change this. And I think as video creators, like you've probably dealt with that in the past too. So just getting to the point where like you're happy with the time that you put in, you're happy with the compensation you get, and then you understand that like changes, like things will come up and that you have to change those, and that's okay. And that you're not being shortchanged because of it. No one's being shortchanged. Like at the end of the day, like the way my mind works is like we're like what you said, like, man, like they're getting this great product, we're getting compensated for it, we love what we do, they love our work. That's perfect.
Yeah,
that is perfect.
It's like when I was saying like my relationship with money, I was like, in the beginning I felt like I'm taking, but then I thought about what am I giving, and if I'm giving somewhere around that same, it feels equal, like there's no one getting ripped off here.
No.
Then I felt way better. In fact, then I started thinking, well, how can I give you, okay, let's say you had this happen, like, oh, you have a $2,000 budget. How can I give you $20,000 worth? I had just 10x it in my head. Deliver. And I think, okay, I see what you've told me is really just a tip of the iceberg. I bet there's something deeper.
Yep.
And if I could fulfill that, like if I could give you something that fulfilled something deeper than what you've talked to me with, that you've got, like I got $2,000 for, then there's no reason that shouldn't happen, especially if I can provide it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, now I just think, what can I give? What can I build that will work in a way that's just that money will be a consequence, right? A good consequence, especially if you want that compound with multi-generational living on the beach, right?
Yeah.
And then it kind of takes that sort of that what you said about like it turns around into like now you're like got some animosity towards the person.
Yeah, and you did that.
And you
self-inflicted did it to yourself.
Yeah. So I think now, especially with creators, with influencers, it's a little bit easier because there's a lot of B2B transactions that they can eat off of.
Yeah.
So now I just say, hey, sponsored by Foodland, right? And I'm working Foodland, and Foodland's paying me to make a video. I'm putting it out to my audience, type of thing. Yeah. I'm building my audience that I can monetize with business A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
And that one feels a little bit separated from like the user, the audience.
Yeah.
Which I feel you don't have. There's still ethics in there.
I see.
There's still ethics in there.
Yeah.
But it's not B to C. It's a little bit more B to B.
Yeah. But
you're building the credibility with the audience. You're building the audience so you can talk to the B and have that conversation.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. It takes some of that pressure off. But when you're talking to a business owner who worked hard for that, let's say that $2,000, and it's like, I need this marketing.
Yeah.
And I heard your name, and however they got to have that conversation with you. That's where I had that feeling of like, I'm taking this person's hard-earned money.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't feel good. But then if I'm giving something that's worth more than that, then that kind of helps, at least having that when you have that internal conversation in the shower at night.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Dude, sometimes like when I'm feeling that way, I just go, you know what? I'm going to do this. I believe in your vision and I love what you're doing. And we're going to do this together. And there's not going to be any money exchange. And I'm still going to win. Like, because I'm going to have some more freedom to do what it is I want. You're going to get the value of having my full creativity. And we're going to put out an amazing video. Like, I was really like Malia and I, we did a like a little mini documentary, bro. And to be honest, I was so inspired by a Gongstead documentary. Malia and I, we did one with Surf and Salsa. Shout out to Surf and Salsa on the North. It was small. We did like this little 5-minute video of John and Maggie's story. They're our neighbors, and they are, bro, the most solid people ever. And they have the best restaurant, in my opinion, in Haleiwa. The best truck, it's so good. And they came over, like, hey, we want to hire you guys to do this. And I'm like, talk to Malia. I'm like, hey, do you feel like this is the one? Like, we just go for it? And she's like, yeah. And we just, bro, it came out so good. And it was like something I was so proud of the work. And the thing that made me so happy was they used all of the content. Like, that makes me so proud as a creator.
I know what you mean.
Because, bro, how many times have you made something for somebody and you never see it?
Yeah.
Happens a lot. Too much.
And you don't get credited or
all kinds of. That's normal in
all kinds of
real
stuff
estate. But
yeah, certain industries are more prone to that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't fit though.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it wouldn't make sense to have
right
the credit
Right.
depending, right? But these are all things that you have in a conversation before,
Yeah.
hopefully, because I know sometimes fuckery does happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I like how you there's times when, for example, in this example, like there's ways to go about it where I don't want to say pro bono because then that makes it. I feel like it cheapens the interaction that's
Yeah.
happening there.
Yeah.
You know
It's
what I mean?
definitely like something like more like, I mean, like pro bono, I guess is the word for it, right? Free work, but it's not.
It doesn't feel that
It's
way.
not
That's
free
what
work.
I mean.
It's like everyone's winning. Everyone's winning.
It's hard to actually. The thing about video, especially now, today, 2023, is it's so subjective and it's so like there's so many different measures that you can just choose one and say make any point about the work
Yep.
that's done.
Yep.
Look at that. That's why you're unsuccessful. Look at that. That's why you're successful. Look at that. That's why I didn't get my return on my investment from hiring peer film. Look
Right.
at that. This is why you got to hire them. So what, at the end of the day, I feel almost like we are a dying breed in that we won't have these conversations because it will get to the point where it just turns into something else.
Yeah.
And the processes that we go through will have become so streamlined
Yeah.
that what we're doing today will become unrecognizable. And
I believe that.
for, like
It's
for better or worse,
happening rapidly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm holding on.
Yeah. Hold on.
And that's where I feel like that value comes from, like that what we're saying, the pro bono stuff is like, do it now because it ain't gonna last forever.
You're not gonna
like,
regret it.
Get those reps in.
Yeah.
Again, it's like one way I think of it too is like it's not what I'm getting, but it's who I'm becoming. So who am I becoming by doing this? And that is my quote unquote payment compensation.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I can become
Oh yeah.
a point like the Jack Paye, my first
Yeah.
documentary crowdfunded,
Yeah.
that I became something else from that. Gon said this, all of these things, it helped me. And so those are the intangibles that, if, I haven't, God forbid that like all of this was gone,
Yeah.
I would still have.
Yeah.
I went to Reunion Island. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, I went there. Man,
Yeah.
I all these things. I went to freaking Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I learned about, I met these people and like all those things through the vehicle of video making is what I carry with me every day.
Yes. Yes.
So if you get an opportunity, sometimes the opportunity is a payment.
And if you can't see the value in that, like you're not gonna make it in this industry or like in this, and that's a whole other one where like, oh, am I in an industry or am I in a business or am I an artist? You like wrestle with all these things, but free work is like it's part of it. It's part of what we do. And some of the work that you're gonna be the most proud of, like you going to Reunion Island and making documentaries in Japan, like that's the work that I think about when I think about you. Like,
Hey,
like
thanks.
and
That's crazy because I haven't been able to talk about that. Like so it's hard to like put when did I start becoming a videographer, right?
Yeah.
I can pull footage and clips that I took from like 2008, I think.
Yeah.
Actually earlier 2006-ish. Around there. Not so much high school. But like 2006-ish around.
Okay.
I think I could find clips that I took.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on 2 decades of me shooting and editing, right? And I was like, whoa, that's a long time to do anything, right?
Yeah.
20 years, it's like you can retire from the military.
Yeah.
20 years, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm almost retired.
Yeah.
Not really, but when I think of like different industries, like
For
we're
sure.
saying, because
Sure.
let's be real, coming from Hawaii, like one path out of Hawaii was the military. We had recruiters at Campbell High School
That's what I did.
all the time. You know what I mean? Like I knew the recruiters
Yeah.
buying us plate lunches at LNL, like
Yeah.
military, UH,
Yeah.
I guess you could say LCC too,
Yeah.
college, work. You know what I'm saying? Like, what options did I have? That was one of them. So, like, the 20-year thing, the mindset of me was like, yeah, that's the thing. But I've been doing this for a long time. And in that time frame of me shooting and editing, I got a lot of things that I could point at. And I thought about how can I today, because now the connectivity is just way higher today. All that stuff I did like 10 years ago,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's valuable today though.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
but I'm not, those drives are just sitting in a Tupperware thing.
Same.
You know what I'm saying?
I got mine in like in a shoebox.
Yeah. Like these drives, what
Yeah.
I should get back
Yeah.
to like the Reunion Island footage, stuff in Japan, the stuff in Oregon, the stuff in South Africa. Like I have a lot of stuff that today, if I were to bring it out, repackage it, even maybe do a talking head piece and then just B-roll it over, you know what I mean? And that goes to like social media.
You should.
One of the biggest, I would say, like one of the clips that has the most traction on my Instagram was, and I tested it on different accounts too. And I tested it on 2 different Instagram accounts and 1 YouTube channel.
Okay, what was it?
Same video. It's me talking about Japan.
Yeah, I know that video.
Yeah, and on every platform, or at every one of those 3 different accounts, 2 platforms, it performed well, which just tells me there's people out there who want to listen to me talk about Japan.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, I have terabytes worth of Japan footage, and I have endless stories that I could just sit here and talk, right?
Yeah.
So those kind of things to me are like, yeah, they aren't necessarily, I would say, like straight away money making activities,
Yeah.
but it's something that I would like to do that is afforded to me by doing money making activities. So it's kind of,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Bro, you got a lot going on too.
Bro, that's what
You got Kenji Talks, you got Kenji Walks, you got Kenji the real estate agent, you got you got
I don't
Kenji
look,
the filmmaker.
I lean on a real estate team
Yeah.
to do the real estate,
Yeah.
but I provide that video myself.
When I was driving over, I was like, bro, Kenji has a lot going on. And I think eventually I want to have more going on. But I think my brain works a little slow, and I'm like, okay, let's dial this thing in first. Dial Pure Films in, and then we'll see like what's next.
Well,
What's next?
that to me is like, I thought of 100 bad videos, right?
Yeah.
Because it's almost like when you go to the gym,
Yeah.
you have a number in your head that you're going to do a certain amount of reps,
Yeah.
a certain amount of sets,
Yeah.
right? You kind of committed to this number,
Yeah.
and you do it, and you see no difference until you've like a year, right? So that same thing with 100 is like, it's a solid, tangible, objective number. There's no question marks. If 100, this is 24. This is 24.
Really?
Yeah. So my thing is like at the end of 100 of these kind of conversations, what am I becoming? I'll be better at conversing with people.
Yeah.
I will be better at managing a small media company because I did hire an editor who helps me with all of this stuff. Because like I said, I can't do it all myself.
Us too. We hired an editor.
So like, I'm getting better at a lot of things through this reps. These are reps. These are ugly pull-ups to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in years to come,
Yeah.
I'll be able to just point at this piece of work like, well, that's why I'm at where I'm at, because I did 100 of these. The bad part is that imperfection. It's cool that some of the episodes, like this person's camera is out of focus. You know what I mean? Sorry. Or this one is out of order. Like the light came down, like these clamps right there.
Yeah.
I didn't tighten it or whatever. And it just like over the course of the episode, it just came down. Like all those things.
Bro, but
are what
you learn from those things. Those are the things that you learn from. Like you don't learn if shit doesn't go wrong. If shit always goes right, like life would just be perfect.
And it would be untrue to
It would be,
like that's the Instagram model thing. It's like that's not how you look.
If nothing was hard, would it even be worth it?
No. And that's the thing. I want to be like wear it out on my sleeve. Like watch. You know how people have like before and afters? That before picture?
I love that.
This is the before picture.
Yeah.
Right? It's just 100 videos, but it's essentially the before picture. And I want you to see it. I want you to hear the bad audio. I want you to see the bad lighting, out of focus, all of that, like weird, awkward silence moments in episode, 12. Like, here it is. And celebrate the bad,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
that's so necessary. And I don't
Yeah.
feel like there's ever really. That's one of the questions I wanted to ask you too. Is like good and bad to me are kind of empty words.
Yeah.
Because they don't really tell you anything. It tells
No.
you more about the person saying
Yeah.
good or bad
Yeah.
than it does about what they're talking about. So like, that's why I think they're empty words, but they're also like cop out words. Oh, how was the movie? Oh, it was good. That tells me nothing.
Ah, yeah.
Hey, you like
Yeah, yeah,
Oppenheimer? Ah, it was all right. Like that tells me nothing,
Yeah.
right? So, what for you when you're like creating,
Yeah.
or you're even watching something like Chef's Table or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What for you your definition of good and bad?
Oh man. Yeah. So I guess like so like to just like reverse engineer what we've been talking about, Chef's Table, bro. First of all, the opening intro is just magnificent with
Solid
the people
intro.
setting the table
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
and the cinematic music. So good, good and bad.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. Like I wrestle with that a lot because dude, I've done so many videos and I've done so many bad videos where I'm like, why is this so ridiculously bad? And like how I can't like put a finger on it. Like what makes this so like okay, authenticity. I noticed like so if I did a video and I'm like, that was really bad, it was because either I wasn't being like true to myself or the person in front of the camera wasn't being true to their self. And then boom, instant disconnect.
Authenticity. Got it.
Authenticity. Perfection is overrated, especially like in cinematography or videography. Like obviously, like I love Chef's Table because it is close to perfect. But if you watch every episode, it's not perfect. It is not perfect. Yeah. There's mistakes. And guarantee the director of photography, the editor, the director was like, we got to send it though, because it's part of the story. We got to run it. Yeah. We got to run it.
Yeah. It's that one undercooked batch of potatoes that are just a little too hard.
Yeah.
Was
There'll be a shaking the shot sometime.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, like that's not normal for this level, but it's still okay.
I think that's a sort of saving grace for like everyone who's against, well, the whole AI conversation, right? It's like, oh, they're going to take away creative jobs. Yeah. I'm like, no, I don't think they're going to take away creative jobs.
Yeah.
Because if they're doing things too perfectly, that's not attractive. The demand isn't for something so perfect.
Right.
The demand is for something like quote unquote human.
Yeah.
Or the feel I get, right? Yeah. That one irregularity that to me is not overwhelming and in fact is a feature.
Yeah.
Which maybe I guess AI can replicate at some point, but I think for the most part it's like the scary part of tech replacing people is that now what do you have to say?
Yeah.
And if you don't have anything to say, that's actually more scary than someone saying something for you. Yeah. So a little sidetrack.
I look at AI like it's just going to be our sidekick, right? Like we're already using technology as our sidekick, and we have all these systems that we put in place. It's like we have all these sidekicks, right? And it's basically just if we have a vision, like we're going for it, and we have all these things that are helping us like get to that goal. I just look at AI like another one of those things. I could be totally wrong. What do I know? No, I'm an idiot. Hey, I don't know.
We already are using it. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Like, come on,
dude.
How did you find this place today?
Yes.
Thank you.
I downloaded ChatGPT the other a month ago.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I have all these different packages for my business. I have my full package. I have my luxury package. And I'm like, bro.
What?
I put in like in the app, I was like, okay, Hawaii real estate media team, video, photo, real estate website, agent introductions, all this. I just put in all these, bro. This thing came up with the most elegant breakdown, better than I ever could have done it. And I'm like, oh my God, You're my sidekick. Because it's not doing the project for me, but damn, does it look good when somebody is gonna go to my website and say like and be like elegant writing is important, and I'm not an elegant writer. ChatGPT is. So.
Hey, the thing is, for me, is like, this is not new. That's the biggest misnomer. Like, AI is not,
Right.
It's not new. People have been leveraging other people to do things for them. In other words, convenience has and always will be a commodity. People will do whatever it takes to have more time or to not do it themselves.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
And this is just the newest version of that. So you would, if you went and like, hey, Kenji, you're a writer. Let's go have coffee and help me write this, my about me on our website.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you just did it in a more efficient, time efficient way.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, it's like, you can't really hate on somebody. Let's put it more into this perspective. You can't hate on a business owner for being more efficient.
No.
Especially when it's a husband-wife team
right.
with 3 kids. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Just
like,
doing what we got to do.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Like, lean into it.
Yeah.
Full on 100%. And again, no one will ever know.
No.
No one. I mean,
no.
I say that kind of like, the thing is, it's video, photo, text, copy, all these things. Like, I feel like there's so much, I wish we could see it like visualized on a chart. Well, I guarantee you ChatGPT or somewhere online could do it. A visualization of the amount of time a person is focused on a new visual stimulus.
When you say new, what do you mean? Like a brand new video that they haven't seen?
Even if it was a label, right?
Got it.
Like walking down the aisle, if there was some videos in Safeways across the nation or something, how long people spend looking at things, a new stimulus, a new visual stimulus, right? Even if they're at, I don't know, an event or something, like how long focus basically is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Like, how has our focus changed? And if we just consider the fact that in our own lives, I know how my focus has changed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I can assume that a large amount of people out there, similar trajectory. And so I feel like I don't want to be somebody begging for your attention. I don't want to be out there like panhandling for attention.
I think I know, what you're saying. Because and it's like, it always depends on your audience too, right? Like, have you ever gone to the store and been like, oh, I'm going to make this dish and I was going to put some sort of like leafy greens in it. And then you go and like any other day you would walk right past, like you would just be like, oh, romaine. And then, but you're like, but this is the star of the dish tonight. And you stand there and next thing you know, you're in front of this freaking leafy greens for 10 minutes and you're looking at it, you're shaking it. And you're like, do I gotta wash it? It's pre-washed. Like you're like really diving into it. Like I think like frame of mind and audience has a lot to do with like attention.
Good point. Because I've been there.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Oh man, last weekend was my birthday, right? So some homies over. They brought their kids and stuff. So like we were. I was like, oh, they're coming over on a Friday. So like on Wednesday, I think I'm like, I'm gonna get ahead of the curve. Oh no, they're coming over Saturday, so it's Friday. I was like, I'm gonna get ahead of the curve. I got the ribeyes. Yeah. I got, and then I was like, oh, the kids are gonna be there. There's gonna be 5 kids. Yeah. So like s'mores.
Yeah.
And then, so I'm like looking at the graham crackers. I'm looking at, there's coconut graham cracker. Okay, there's all the different chocolates. You know, using Reese's peanut butter cups as a replacement for the standard milk chocolate.
Yes.
S'more hack.
Never thought of that.
That was introduced to me by a neighbor.
We do s'mores every once in a while too.
So peanut butter cup. So I got the peanut butter cup. I got the Hershey's if they want the standard issue. I got everything but the marshmallows. Dude, I got everything but the fucking marshmallows. Yeah. And I didn't notice until I opened up the chocolate. I broke it up into little two rectangle pieces, right? Fits right on the graham cracker. Had the freaking marshmallow skewers with extendable arms and shit. You know what I mean? Fucking coals are just perfect ready. And then I'm like, where's the marshmallow?
Bro.
And I was like, I spent all this time in the aisle going through like the whole thing, right?
Yes.
No, it's gonna be, and I was thinking all the
Yeah.
kids are gonna be stoked, like
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was planting the seed throughout the night. Hey, yeah, remember we got s'mores, we got
Yeah.
s'mores, we got s'mores. And that's the human. I feel
Yeah.
like that's just the human in me, just sticking his head out, like, hey, don't forget about me. I had everything planned, everything was ready except the most important piece. And you know, hey, maybe long term, that's going to be a point that we can always laugh about. You know what I'm saying?
And you'll probably never forget marshmallows again.
Bro, I might just have a stockpile of them from
You
now on.
might. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Just never again. Don't put Kenji in charge of the s'mores. Man, I had the fire like perfect, you know, just orange.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Oh,
so we're human
yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think, you know, those, I don't know if this is more mistake, but like mistakes, imperfections, all part of it. I think there's a line when it's there's an exchange of money, because then there's expectation and there's deliverables that need to be upheld. But, you know, when I think a lot of people who are going to get value from this conversation are those in that kind of journey. They've taken a leap, or they're looking at the ledge with their toes over it. And they're just waiting for that confirmation.
Yeah.
And so if you're in that kind of stage, I feel like ain't nothing to it but to do it. Take the leap.
Dude, for sure.
Forget about the money part now.
Just do it. Yeah.
And the 200 feet headlight thing. Same thing. Like, you can't really see what's ahead.
Yeah.
But just move. Just keep moving.
Just keep moving.
Getting those reps in.
The journey's it. Like, it's no fun without the journey. Like, I think most of us, like, maybe like real quick, we think, oh yeah, can I just jump to this zone? And be like, oh yeah, I want to do that. But in reality, like, just jumping to that zone, I don't think that you would be happy. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But like, getting to that zone is a cool thing, you know? Yeah.
Hey, I got to ask you, because you surf.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I've never, I mean, sponging, bodyboarding.
Yeah.
Similar, but not really, right? I mean, splitting hairs, you could say.
Yeah.
But why, as someone who surfs, like, how would you explain to someone who's never even, like, middle of Wyoming, never seen an ocean?
Yeah.
Like, how would you explain to them why you surf?
I mean, in the simplest terms, I started surfing because my dad surfed. My dad surfed, accessibility right here to the greatest waves in the whole world. And then I kind of got out of it because my dad surfed, and he's like really pushing me into it. But why do I surf? Like, my friends surfed. It was just, it's I don't know. To me, like, surfing has given me actually everything. Surfing has given me like self-confidence. Surfing has also like taught me humility, in a way that nothing else can. Like, we talked a lot about nature a little bit ago, like being out in the mountains or being far out to sea, being in murky water, being scared. Surfing puts you into that uncomfortable position often. And you learn how small you are, like when you're like on the outside reef and a set comes in and it's just you and your boys out there because it's big, you know, and man, nothing makes you feel more alive. I surf because it makes me feel alive, but it's also that it's really hard to put into perspective. Billabong used to run this ad that says, only a surfer knows the feeling. And it was Shane Dorian in like this massive backdoor barrel. All I want to do is surf. That's all I want to do. Like, last week, I clocked it 15 hours. I surfed 15 hours last week.
That's a part-time job already.
Frick.
Basically.
Yeah.
15 hours at what? Elise?
No, a few hours at Elise with the kids, but mostly like Mokalia spots, the secret spots. Yeah.
No need to name.
Oh,
I got you.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you can't find a better sport. Like, you're out, you're in nature, you're like putting yourself in this unpredictable environment, makes you feel human. You're exercising. you once you like get the hang of surfing, it becomes an art form, and it's a form of self-expression. And every single wave is different. So there's a different approach to every single wave you'll ever catch in your whole life. There's a different approach to it. It's the most dynamic thing I could ever think of.
But within that, there's a
Yeah.
universal, like you see guys who are just like, damn, he was skateboarding in the pipe, now he's street, now he's snowboarding, now he's surfing, now he's foiling. Like,
Yeah.
there's certain, I would say, transmittable, if that's the right word, like transferable.
Transferable, yeah.
Because I know every wave's different, but like riding 15 hours a week
Yeah.
is gonna help you in that 16th hour,
Yeah.
right? Because you're building off that 15.
Yeah.
So like, if you're doing it 15 years and now it's year 16, there's a certain amount of like built-in autopilot know-how
Yeah.
that like,
Oh, yeah.
it's my first
Yeah.
time at this wave in Japan or something, but that 15 years that I have,
Yeah. Yeah.
now I can like adjust way better than that person who just started. Like,
Yeah. Once you've been doing it for like, well, some people surf their whole life and they just like can't surf, you know. But then like for some people it clicks, and then like once it kind of clicks, you get to that point like you're not so much focusing on sort of like the transitional parts of the wave, and you're focusing on more of like the high speed sort of like high stakes moments.
So how would you describe then the like start from the lineup all the way to done? Like, what are you thinking of? Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm saying this because here I'll be real with it. I stood up twice, White Plains, twice, White Plains or Yumetai on foam. What do you call it? Foam top.
Yeah.
Foam.
I met you at Elite's.
Yeah,
Very
no shit.
first
That's
time.
right. That's
you
right.
let me walk across the street in the parking lot.
I was like,
and
yeah,
I
that
saw
guy's
you in the
smart.
car. I'm like,
Yeah.
that guy looks familiar.
And I only knew you through like the screen. Like,
Yep.
I know that's Mark
Same.
though.
Same.
Like our paths cross at the beach, but
Yeah.
like standing up on a surfboard, actually like surfing,
Yeah.
I've only done twice. I guess you could say I've done it on a boogie board more than a surfboard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like surfboard, no. And it's one of those points that in my experience being around the world and being like, hey, my name's Kenji from Hawaii. What's the next question? Do you surf? And I
Yeah.
have to be like, saying no all those years in all those places, I was like, fuck, man, I got to get on it. So like, I know it from a different perspective because I'm not gonna say, oh, I sponge at Sandy's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, what is that? You know, do you
Yeah.
surf pipe?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, no, but I've seen it. I know people who do.
Yeah.
So to me, it's been this really familiar yet very, very distant thing.
Yeah.
And I love the ocean too, but you know what I'm saying? I look at waves all the time as well, but maybe for different, maybe that's the Moe hole or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like that's why I'm like curious now. Like,
Yeah.
how you're looking at a wave and you're like, okay, the lineup, and there's another thing that's making it super like front of mind for me is that there's a wave pool, Waikai, Eva Beach, right?
Yeah.
I've
done
been
it
there
a
many
couple
times. And the guy, Jason Shibata, the
bots. I know.
bots, right?
Yeah.
I was like listening to his instruction. I wasn't surfing, I was there shooting.
Yeah.
But I was listening to his instruction, and the biggest thing is like most people don't get is that it's different. It's a different wave.
Yeah.
But the good part is you can get your reps in
Yeah.
over and over because you don't have to do these other things like paddle out, select the wave,
Yeah.
line up. There's
Yeah.
courtesy. There's
Yeah.
pecking order.
Yeah.
All these other things, kind of like shooting. All these other things besides the camera that are crucial.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, when you break it down like that, I could see why having a wave pool would be beneficial for someone trying to learn how to
For
surf.
sure.
Because you can just practice the
Yeah.
technical parts over and over and over and over and over
Yeah.
again
Yeah.
in a controlled environment.
Yeah. It's almost like the AI conversation.
It is
It's-
kind of.
Yeah.
Because it's same but different.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted like someone who's out in the ocean
Yeah.
surfing. What kind of decisions are you making?
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because
You know what I mean?
when you say that, like the first thing that comes to me, like when I paddle out to a lineup, is, How's the waves? Oh, obviously, like there's the obvious things, right? Like, how's the waves? How's the conditions? How big is it? And then when you start to go out there, oh, how many people is out there? Where's my place in this lineup? What's the pecking order in the lineup? Because the pecking order doesn't mean number 1 caught a wave, so he goes to number 10. Doesn't mean that, right? Like, well, if this is one of the boys and they surf out here every day, they might go back to number 4, even though there's 10 people out, right? So where are you in that lineup, right? And honestly, like, depending on your personality, like, you can try to put yourself anywhere, but man, I mean, like, just like anywhere else across the board, like, respect is the most important thing out there. So you just kind of find your place in the lineup, and I'm just out there just doing my thing. And then the next thing that I'm looking for is I'm not the kind of guy who's like, oh, today I'm gonna surf Rockies, tomorrow I'm gonna surf pipe, now I'm gonna surf off the wall, I'm gonna go surf log cabins, I'm gonna go surf yokes. I have like a few spots that I surf. I've been surfing a really long time, and there's like, I know what I like, I know what I don't like. So I'm going out to these spots where it's great for me. I know a lot of the people who surf out there, and then I know what kind of wave I'm looking for, right? Because on any given day, you have 2 to 3 different swell directions happening. So if I'm surfing out at a certain spot, I know that I like to surf over here when the North Peak comes through, and it suits my style and it suits my surfing. It's more flowy. And I know that if I sit right over here, like, that's what I'm looking for. Like, I'm looking for that peak, that I'm looking for this certain one. And I've been doing it long enough to where I know which one I'm looking for. And maybe no one else sees it, and I can just go out there and do my thing. Like, that's what I'm looking for when I'm surfing. I'm just trying to go out there and just, like, get my fix. It's like I'm an addict. I need it. If I don't surf, I'm like not like the best person to be around. I just,
30, what am I now? 38. Like, now it's the first time I thought of it this way, thanks to what you just said. There's an abundance, meaning, yeah, the spots that you just named,
yeah,
but that's not all there is. And as a matter of fact, maybe for a specific person, they shouldn't be at these spots. They could find a spot that favors their style and what they're going after.
Yes.
Which I was like, if someone just tuned in midway, they'd think we're talking about fishing spots.
Yeah.
Because there's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
But there's crowded ones that's when you get like egos and scraps and all this kind of like unspoken code, like, that you got to deal with to even participate there.
Yeah.
But there's a whole shoreline, there's a whole island.
Yeah.
And there's waves everywhere. There's fish everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you figured out what you like.
Yeah.
You figured out how to tap in.
Yeah.
Where to tap in. You have your options. And you know those few places very, very well. Probably better than most people.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, you found your spots.
Yeah.
And you can go get your dose.
That's it.
And dip.
Do my dance.
Bing, bam.
Yeah.
Boom. And then go home.
And then go home and be like super stoked. And I'm sharing those spots now with the kids. Like,
see, that's dope too.
And that's like what my dad did for me. Like, he took me out to these spots, and then like other people in my life, like big brother kind people, like would take me out to these spots and show me like, hey, don't act like this. Don't act like what you just did right there. Bro, you're gonna get your head slapped doing that. Chill out. Like I've been told that so many times. I've got my head slapped. Like,
who has it?
Yeah.
In Hawaii.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's just part of growing up here. Like you
get slapped.
You get slapped. You learn.
Or false. I mean,
you learn. I'm not out there slapping people. That's for sure. I want to sometimes, but I'm like, that's not me. That's not me.
Yeah, and there's other ways to communicate. I mean, communication is powerful too, but like a lot of times, it's the physical reminders. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Physical reminders.
Yeah. Oh, man. You've seen it happen so much,
Bro, so like going to Yokes, I'm going down the whole Farrington Highway, right?
Yep.
So starting basically at Tracks all the way to Yokes, right? And this last time I was looking at tracks and I was like, last time I went there was high school.
Yeah. It's a
And it
different pace
hasn't
now.
changed,
Yeah.
bro. Like,
No.
you can't just go to like a spot like this.
Yeah.
You cannot just be like, oh, I looked online and found these spots, and you know what I mean? Like, talk about head slaps, and there's the unspoken codes that do exist. And then I was just reminded, like, all along the West Coast, there's a lot of those spots.
Yeah.
Where it's like pecking order.
Yeah.
But also not even that, just where you can park your car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It starts with where you can park.
Yeah.
And then how you act from the moment you park, not even before you even get wet. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a whole thing.
I was like, you know, if you had to just navigate that and you didn't know, there's a lot of opportunities for physical reminders. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel somewhat bad for people who just are oblivious to that.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's something that
you know what I always think, like, oh, Bombay, you learn.
Yeah.
That's what I think, like,
yeah,
you learned.
Yeah, which can be unfortunate.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's unwarranted too, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's a fact of this place.
Yeah.
And especially when you talk about something like surfing.
Yeah.
Bruh, that's a whole, not just culture, lifestyle. Some people even would say religion, huh? Like it is.
Yeah.
It's got like this, a certain amount of spiritual value to it.
Yeah.
Right? The things that I can't even say, right?
It's hard. That's why, like, it's a really hard question to answer.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting like a perfect answer either. I just more like, I'm curious as someone who does it, how do you see it? And I'm by no means, I feel like I've been placed in situations so many times, just again, different places, countries, times, like where I felt I had to be a representative of everything Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I felt so like unequipped to do that.
Yeah.
You know, like,
absolutely.
I know I'm unequipped to answer your question, but given where we are, I'm the closest thing.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, that's the imposter
Yeah.
syndrome where I'm like, okay, I am everything Hawaii to you. I might as well be Obama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So many, especially in Japan, dude. I was in Japan from 2008 to 2016, which is exact Obama administration time. I came back in November 2016. So it's like after Trump won.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I left August 2008. So like before Obama won. So I like dodged his whole presidency. I was in Japan. It's kind of crazy. And a lot of it came from people in Japan in the countryside. But a lot of it also came from when I would travel outside of Japan, from Japan, and go back to Japan. So it's like in the countryside of Japan, I might as well have been Obama, Usain Bolt, 50 Cent. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like any American, any black person, anybody from Hawaii, I was all of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I felt this weight that I never felt before.
Really? Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, to you, subjectively, right? This 8-year-old who grew up in the countryside of Japan, talking to this guy, I get it. Yeah. I get it. So that happened so enough times that I wanted to learn not just about surfing in Hawaii, but also about the English language itself. Because there's a lot of things that we take for granted that we don't ever really try and dissect and understand. Yeah. Because we just know how to use verbs and conjugate is, was, them. Like, these things are just natural to us, but when you try and explain it to someone learning it, it doesn't make sense. In this language,
you were teaching.
Fucked up. Yeah.
You were teaching English.
I was an English teacher for 5 years.
Okay.
Elementary.
Okay.
In the countryside of Japan.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at, again, my height thing. I'm like looking down elementary kids for 5 years, bro. And daycares and kindergarten. So like anyone from 3 years old to like 12. For 5 years, I'm in front of groups of these kids representing America, representing the English-speaking world, representing Hawaii. Yeah. Right? And so naturally, you're going to have times where, I had times where I'm fielding questions I felt inadequate to answer, but I was the closest thing to answer it. So
you just do it.
I had to be like, surfing, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I would do the same thing.
I didn't like lie, but I gave my best, answer. to the question. I addressed it the best I could, but then it just made me feel more like, Biggie, Notorious B.I.G., the more you know you don't know shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, the more and more times this is happening, the more and more it's exposing how much more I have to learn, to be like a representative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I never felt that kind of weight in where I came from, right? Because it's almost just given. When you remove that environment and people, then you feel the weight. Like, oh yeah, anything I do, right? Kind of, or not just me, but like Usain Bolt, because it's 2008 Beijing Olympics.
Yeah.
Usain Bolt was everywhere, so he was like the popular black guy on the TV, and
So they associated with you.
Oh yeah, dog, bro. I was smoking kids on the track at recess. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it.
Teachers too. I'm like, hey, you could get, anybody could get it. Like, you want to race? I was down for it. Like, I was in shape. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just smoking.
That's so funny, dude. I love it.
And you know what? That's like a fun example, right?
Yeah.
I wore the makeshift jersey that's like yellow with some green, like to make the Jamaica look.
Yeah.
Bro, smoking these kids.
It's so funny.
Oh, what? Middle schoolers, come, let's go. Burn you too. You know what I mean? Hey, there's a lot of kids right now who are like, oh, that's the guy who freaking ran faster than everybody.
Yeah.
Or that's the guy who.
Yeah.
There's one time at recess, small school, like 50 kids. 1st to 6th grade, only had like 55 kids when I started. And then by my 5th year, by the time I left, they had like half of that. So a lot of the schools in Japan are shrinking. As you know, the population is shrinking, right? There's more older people than there are younger people.
Okay.
It's one of the biggest problems that they're facing right now.
Okay.
And I could see that firsthand being in public elementary schools. The numbers are dwindling. In fact, when I visited a couple years after I left, that school I'm talking about right now shut down. And that was one of 3 schools in that city that shut down.
There was just
so basically, there's not enough kids
to
they gotta
validate the school.
Yeah, so they got to go to the next bigger school in the next town, right? But at that school, I remember there was this one recess where we were playing soccer. You know, everybody, Kenji Sensei loves to play soccer. So we're playing soccer. And this is a 5th grade boy. I remember. Are you 4th or 5th grade? I think it was 5th grade. Because I remember I was like, well, he's 5th grade. So he was like, shoot it as hard as you can. Right?
Oh, bro. It's not going to end good.
No,
it does.
There's no blood. Like,
okay.
But I was like, all right. He literally asked for it. So he's standing in the goal. And I didn't go like on the PK spot. I went like farther back, right? I was like, I'm going to rip it. I'm not going to hold back. And I freaking ripped it. And I was surprised. Like, I connected perfect. And the ball was one of those like knuckle balls, like no spin, just laser beam. And it went straight to him. He blocked it, thankfully. Like, he got his hands up. But even after he like deflected it, just flew right out of the parking lot. And everybody was like silent. Like, whoa. It was even me, because I was like, that was a I connected. Kick. Like, rarely do I ever like try and like connect and hit it hard. But not only did I hit it, it went straight to him, and he blocked it. Thankfully, he blocked it. And everyone was speechless. And then we started laughing.
That's so funny. Dude.
And then we all started laughing. And then even like the teachers, the room, the windows open. It's the teachers like, whoa, you know what I mean? And so like, I know, I remember that moment. I'm sure he remembers that moment. I'm sure everybody else remembers that moment. And the fact that I could have like these moments, oh man, that's
cool.
That's amazing. And so, you know, like to them, you know, that guy from Hawaii who liked to play soccer that one time in recess, you know what I mean? And taught me about this and that. Like, that's part of my North Star too.
Yeah.
Is having more of those kind of exchange moments that, you know, again, the win-win. He could say he blocked like his rocket shot, you know what I mean? Me too. I like, and we shared that, moment through sports, through education, through the programs the relationships between our countries that allow that kind of thing. There's a lot of things in play that allowed that moment to happen, but that's one of many, many, many freaking moments. Yeah. In Japan that, you know, again, who am I becoming? Like, that are with me today. Yeah. There's no video of that, But that gets me thinking of that school,
Yeah.
that area, that I was a city worker, right? So I wasn't a part of the JET program, which is what a lot of people do to go to Japan to teach
Okay.
English. But I was a direct hire through the Board of Education. But basically, my contract, the first thing I did was I looked at a JET contract and changed everywhere it said JET, which is the name of the program, to like, I forgot even what it's called, Takashima ALT or something. Just changing some nouns here and there.
Okay.
Basically, same thing. And because of that, I had a little bit of a different structure of
Yeah.
my experience,
Yeah.
right? Direct hire through the Board of Education. I'm a city worker, whereas most JET ALTs, assistant language teachers, have a base school.
Yeah.
But my base is the Board of Education. And from there, I take a city vehicle. It was like a Daihatsu. I don't even know the
what
model.
an experience.
Dude, it was like a Daihatsu something, right? Like knees on the dash every day. And then I would go to whatever school I had to go to that day.
Wow.
So I was driving probably more than I drove in, like more road hours in Japan maybe than Hawaii. Maybe. Man. Yeah. I was driving around a lot. So like this school, I remember exactly the roads, how to get there. And this is also when I started like getting into shooting, down in Supertramp, like YouTube, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Streaming was like popping, right? So I was exposed, and then I had somewhat of a budget to like buy the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd keep it on me, and I knew like if I had a morning school and an afternoon school, after lunch, that transit time, sometimes I would have enough wiggle room that I could stop somewhere and then just shoot. Oh, there's monkeys.
Yeah.
And it's wintertime, so this field is snow now. Like I'm getting like B-roll shots. So I have a lot of these kind of stuff where it's just from that school to this school, I would dip out on this little road, just shoot whatever, landscape, anything, right?
Bro, what an experience.
I had the slider, the Canova slider.
I like those
You know
things,
what I mean?
dude. Those things those things are so cool.
Bro.
Dude, I want to go to Japan. My dad's from Japan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, so you Japanese then?
Yeah.
Yeah,
my dad's from I'm a quarter. My dad's half. He's born and raised in Misawa.
Where is that?
I don't know. Northern Japan. Like
okay. Dude, well, you haven't been?
No.
Oh,
no.
bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to take my family one of these days.
You got to.
Yeah.
Because it's like...
I want to get a tour guide when I'm there.
Bro, I mean, I'm an open book, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing we were talking about earlier. Like, I want to go to Japan. I was like, now I have 15 questions that I want to ask you. Yeah. Like, I kind of like make it simple. Like, what do you want to see? What do you want to eat? What do you want to do? Right?
Yeah.
See, eat, do. There's a lot of things to see everywhere.
Yeah.
There's temples, shrines.
Like, I want to go to where where my dad always talked about.
What country?
Like he up in the mountains, snow.
Oh,
that's like all I know. And then I wanna I'm a foodie, bro.
That's what I mean.
I wanna go and eat another great documentary like Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
Oh,
so good, right? But oh my gosh, I watch all of those goofy Japanese late night foodie shows too.
Bruh.
Yeah, I grew up on KIKU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kiku.
Yeah. We would watch that every night. We get home so my dad would take us surfing every day.
Oh.
Every single day. He worked water supply. We'd come home. We had to have the boards ready. We had to have his 2 Stein loggers in his cooler. And we'd get home and we'd load the boards up and we'd shoot to White Plains or shoot to Mokuleia or shoot to Haleiwa or Laniakea. And he'd come in a little early, smash his 2 Heinekeens, or his 2 Stein loggers. His 2 Stein loggers. It wasn't Heineken, it was Stein lager. Stein lager, bro. He'd smash them. And we'd go home. And we'd eat dinner, and we had this little Japanese fold-out table.
Yeah.
And that's what we would eat on. He'd eat on the couch, and us kids would eat on the Japanese fold-out table, and we'd watch KIKU.
The one with the legs where you gotta squeeze them to open them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the best, and that's what we grew up on, just watching KIKU. And I remember watching Kiku, and it was just always just super nice Japanese people. And they're always making food and sharing food with each other. And they're always so organized. And that was how we grew up. My dad was very much like that. He was very
2 Steinies.
yeah, he was he was very structured. and like very like he even like bow, you know?
Yeah.
He'd do that. Like it was just
Wait,
instinctual.
he's Japanese from Japan who
Yeah.
moved to Hawaii?
Yeah.
Oh, bruh.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's the real deal then.
Yeah.
Because over here, my wife, so she's Japanese, right?
Yeah.
And like Japanese. Now I say it like how I guess you should. Like it was weird because I'm Black Japanese, but
Yeah.
we say like African American, but we don't say Japanese American. A lot of the time.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, especially.
Right.
If you say, oh, is you Japanese? But what you really want to say is Japanese American. Like my mom is Japanese American.
Yeah.
Because she's not born
She's
in Japan.
Japanese,
born,
but she's
yeah.
local girl.
So only now, having been there, Japan, living here, like I'll make that distinction.
For sure.
So when I say Japanese, I'm like, Japanese is reserved for Japanese nationals born in Japan or whatever.
Yeah.
But local Japanese, I'll either say local Japanese.
That's what I say, local Japanese.
Or like Japanese American.
Yeah.
So, but your dad is Japanese.
Half. He's half Japanese because it was military stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like not fully.
I got you.
But grew up speaking Japanese.
Okay.
Because his mom, like they grew up
That's
in the
huge.
hills.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
you got it. That's the reason I went.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a plan in my last year of university.
Yeah.
And this opportunity to teach English in the countryside of Japan just popped up.
That's
Again,
so
the headlights, the headlight thing. I didn't know
isn't
where
that
I was going.
It's a cool thing.
And then I ended up there for 8 years. And so but I always had this almost like calling to me at that time when I was like 20 or something, like about to graduate from university. Like I was like, I want to go to Africa and Asia. Like me, that's my roots.
Yeah.
I'm going to tap in with dad's side and tap in with mom's side.
Yeah.
And so I ended up doing those things. But like,
where in Africa did you go?
The first time I went South Africa for the World Cup. So I saw 4 games in South Africa. I went solo for 2 weeks, and I was fucking.
I was there when they were
amazing.
building the stadium.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, in
What was
like
that?
2004, 2003. Does that sound right?
Well, they do start the bids. Yeah, like that. That's
The
probably
stadium.
right.
I remember
They
the
have time to
stadium
build
was
it up.
being built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I wasn't expecting it, but it was cold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yes,
summertime.
Same.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's.
Bro, I got off the
it's-
plane and it was 50 degrees.
Bro.
And I was like, oh. Bro,
Yeah.
because you came from Hawaii.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Or Japan summertime.
Okay.
Which is hot and humid.
Okay.
And then I went basically southern hemisphere, and I mean I knew it was
the
gonna
winter.
be winter, but I was like
But you didn't really know.
it's pretty frigid.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So I've been there, and then I went to Mozambique a couple times,
Okay.
and Madagascar.
Oh, right on.
So just all in that area, all sub-Saharan.
That's like us, went to Swaziland, I think, which is connected to
That-
South Africa,
yeah,
and maybe
that
even
one's
Mozambique.
in South Africa.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's
a
like
little
nestled.
island.
It's like an island border.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Amazing.
wow,
bro.
Swaziland.
Yeah.
See, that's one place people were like, oh, you should. It was either that,
Yeah, it's amazing.
Cape Town. I didn't go to, but
I didn't go.
people are like, you gotta go Cape Town.
Yeah.
Check out Swaziland. But I went to these other places.
How's Madagascar?
We went to
That's an island off of Africa, right?
Yeah. And bro, this is like maybe I didn't do my due diligence of like online, right? I'm booking things.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I didn't book where I saw like an Airbnb, because it was fucking, you think it's an island? Like for us, we think island, oh yeah, island.
I'm thinking
Bruh,
tropical.
this is Madagascar is huge.
Okay.
Okay.
Like Big
You
Island
think
huge?
island, bro, bro, like probably the size of California.
Oh,
I'm
my
guessing. I'm
gosh.
guessing. Fact check me. Maybe New Zealand. Like it's, bro, Madagascar is huge.
It's a country.
It's big. Like from this coast to that coast, it's not like, oh yeah, like it's far. So when we landed, good thing I got the thing close to Antananarivo. They call it Antana or something. I forgot the capital.
Okay.
Antananarivo, I think. I think they just call it Tana. From there, we went to Nusi Bay, which is an island. It's an island off the main big ass island, right? And that's it was very touristy.
Okay.
And I'm kind of happy we did that because, bruh, I think the most sketchy place I was in between Johannesburg and Pretoria when I was driving. It's like an hour-ish drive north, and you pass some slums, some levels of poverty that I just was like, yo, I thought
Stuff that we never
what
grew
I
up
see
seeing.
Waianae Boat Harbor
Yeah, yeah.
is what
Mm-hmm.
my like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what can
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
But then seeing that, I was like, oh, that just reset my whole
For sure.
bar of what
Yeah.
I think poverty is. So on Madagascar, it was kind of there, but not like. Just put it this way, there's a lot of points where I was like, I just hope this car doesn't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
hope I don't make eye contact with the wrong person.
Yeah.
And I hope me dragging this suitcase. Well, I already know that's like a target. I
Yeah.
felt like
Yeah.
that guy's not from here. He's,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So the suitcase and all that, but like it ended up being at the place we stayed at. It was actually really cool. It was like an Airbnb host. They had their own plot of land and farm and like basically like what you'd imagine up in Pupukea.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like something like that, big property with different huts on it.
Yeah.
Like yurt type hut things that they just rent out. They got a big ass dog that is like scary but friendly. They get, breakfast every day and stuff. So, and then from there you could go to like the market, and that tripped me out because when I went to, I was like, yo, I'm not eating. First of all, I can't even see what kind of meat it is because there's so much flies on it.
Whoa.
Yeah, like, no, I actually have some video or a photo from this. I remember at some point I just felt bad like taking photos because, again, I don't want to just be this guy with the camera out in this market. But I'm like, I don't even know what kind of meat's under there because there's so many flies. And when the guy grabs it, someone buys it, then I can, oh, that's beef. You know what I mean? Oh, that's chicken. But, oh, that's crabs.
Oh.
So, we kind of like cringe when we think about it.
Yeah.
But, like this is it. I ate some lychee. I was okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I ate, we got some cinnamon. No, not cinnamon. Vanilla beans.
Okay.
So we got some vanilla beans. We still have some. We got like some spices, stuff like, we got some goods from the market. But again, I was just like,
you didn't buy meat that day.
I did not buy meat. It was cool to see just the action, the hustle and bustle, right?
Yeah.
But I felt the thing about Madagascar is it's right in between Asia and Africa. Not geologically in the middle, but it's in between the continental Africa and a lot of Southeast Asia. So even at Reunion Island, it's kind of in the same area where that's where you get a lot of people looking like me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's my gene pool.
Yeah.
Like Asia and Africa, right? And so I went in there thinking like, oh, I'm a just fit right in.
One of the regulars
as
here.
Long as I don't talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't talk.
Yeah.
But no, first giveaway is the clothes.
Okay.
So right away, you ain't from here. With whatever you fit, whatever you're wearing, you're not from here. No more.
Yeah.
Even if you like, no. So I didn't look like I was from there with my clothes. I didn't act like I was from there. The way I'm like crossing streets, like looking at things, right? What I got in my hand, the camera, whatever. Plus I got a Japanese lady next to me. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't fit in as much as I thought I would.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way.
Yeah.
More of a very, very novel way, almost like shocking too, because I wasn't sure what to expect.
Yeah.
But I do have, I have some pretty killer time lapses from Nusi Bay, Madagascar. I remember I was getting into my like photography phase. Yeah.
Wow. Wait, what year was that?
This, bro, it's like I want to say 2013 maybe.
Oh, okay. Wasn't that long ago.
Madagascar, 2014 maybe.
Okay.
13. I don't know, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Early teens.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. So that was South Africa was 2010. Mozambique was like, so it was like South Africa.
You went back.
Yeah, I went multiple times.
Back to Africa.
And I still want to go to Morocco though, because that's what I'm saying. I want to go to Morocco. I want to go
good
to
surf in Morocco.
Senegal. Oh, for real?
Yes.
See, you would know.
Yeah.
See, part of my North Star is also traveling for fishing. So I'm thinking about trips that are centered around, like for daddy, fishing. But let's say Morocco, right? Daddy. So I'm looking at fishing spots.
What?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
Okay.
But and then like obviously what kind of museums are there?
Yeah.
I want each family member to have a sort of like a project a learning
Oh,
opportunity.
that's really cool.
So it's like, okay, you are
I like
into comics or whatever. So we're going to go find
Yeah.
comic books, or maybe there's an artist doing a signing,
Yeah.
whatever the
I like
case,
that.
you know?
I like that.
You like food, so we're going to find the food.
Yes.
And you like coffee, we're going to find, you know, I
Bro,
like
we're on
fishing.
that same trip.
That's what I'm
man.
saying.
Yeah.
Because that's endless.
Yes.
That's like waves almost.
Yeah.
There's
Like when we talk about like education,
yeah.
I always feel like my biggest educational moments were like the days that I cut school, and then my uncles, I call my uncles because my uncles were way younger than my mom.
Yeah.
So they were like in their, late 20s when I was a little kid, and they were hardcore fishermen. That's all they did. They had the ghettoest boats.
Yeah.
And that sounds really bad. They had like they had 3 boats. One of them usually was working. And I'd be like, Uncle, I'd go to school, I'd go to the health room. Uncle, my stomach is so sore, Uncle. Bro, he'd come and pick me up every single time. My Uncle Lenny. He would come and pick me up. He lives on the west side. He'd come and pick me up every time I called him. And he would take me fishing almost every time. He's the best fisherman like you'll ever meet. Like just no flash, just knows how to fish.
Yeah.
And he would take me out and he'd take me fishing and he'd teach me so much. And everything I learned about fishing, I pretty much learned from my Uncle Lenny on days that I would like just cry to get out of school. And he'd take me out fishing.
Hey, shout out to Uncle Lenny.
Yeah.
And all the other Uncle Lennys out there, because I'm gonna be on Uncle Lenny.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I mean, that the best thing you could be is Uncle Lenny.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's like my baseball coach, soccer coach, giving me these opportunities.
Yeah.
And my mom says, so single parent household, right? Me,
Yeah.
Ty, and my mom.
Okay.
And so my mom has said, now, you know how parents be like revealing stuff to you when you're old enough to like receive it?
Yes.
So something that she said fairly recently was like, I'm so happy that you had men in your life that could give you experiences that I couldn't.
Yeah.
The things that a father would typically do,
Yeah.
hiking, camping, fishing, hunting, right?
Yeah.
That I couldn't because
Yeah.
I'm working
Yeah.
40, 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you had other men in your life, which is to think it takes a village to raise a child.
Oh,
and
yeah.
in Hawaii, very much so.
Yeah.
So the Uncle Lenny's out there, right?
Yeah.
Who are giving children in their community those kind of opportunities. Like, hey, shout out to them. Unsung heroes, like you said, nothing flashy.
No flash.
Not stays off the gram. You might never know, but
Yeah.
you remember
huge.
that. You know what I mean?
Making huge differences in people's lives.
Oh man, and
Yeah.
that's something that
They don't even think about it like that either. Because it's just who they are. Like they're not like doing this for like future recognition.
yeah.
They're just like like they're just
My nephew
solid
called me up.
people. Yeah. My nephew needs
Yeah.
me. I'm gonna go pick him up.
And what
Little
are we
shit
gonna do?
wants to go fish.
We're gonna fish.
I'll take him fish. I want to go fish too. Shit.
Yeah.
I just remember he'd be like driving, rolling a joint with one, like the most classic, like
Rolling a joint.
one hand rolling a joint. I'm
Driving
like,
stick
Uncle,
shift.
Uncle,
Yeah.
you rolling a joint right now? He's like, no, it's a Camel cigarette. That's what was his line. It's a Camel cigarette. And then he lighted up. It always cracked a Bud, like always had a Budweiser and was rolling a joint with one hand. Like, just a
Bruh.
legend.
All star, because the unsung
The best.
heroes of
The
our
best.
childhood.
Yeah.
How old were you when? What is this? High
I
school?
think I was
or
fourth grade.
Oh,
Like
bruh.
fourth grade was when I started realizing I could call my Uncle Lenny and get him to get me out of school every day.
Let's go.
Yeah. He would take me to throw net. It just
See, bruh, I have girls. You have girls.
I have
too,
two
right?
girls and a boy, yeah.
And a lot of times, like some friends, be, oh, don't you want a boy? Especially my Asian friends and family.
Yeah.
Oh, get the boy. I'm like,
Need a boy.
chill out.
Yeah.
But I get it, because I was a boy as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah.
And there's certain kind of activities I think that lend themselves more to like doing with a boy, like a
Yeah.
son,
Yeah.
which kind of includes some of these things that we're talking about that we experience, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, bruh, so far, my girls love fishing.
Bro, just
They
take
just caught,
them.
bruh, she just caught her first, like, it was just a pole paw. But that's still,
Yeah.
she felt the tug. The tug is the drug. And she
Yeah.
felt that. And
Yeah.
and then the stoke, I was like, oh, there it is. That's how I felt when I first Mempachi I caught. Like
Yes.
that's the same face.
Yeah.
That like almost
Bro.
like this surge of adrenaline.
Yeah.
She just didn't know what to do with
Bro,
herself.
I'm still addicted to fishing. Like, I just love it.
What
It's like
is
you
it?
become a kid again every single time.
Yup,
Every time a
yup,
fish
yup.
hits that pole. And it's funny because like I dive a little bit too, but like I like fishing. I love the mystery of it. I love the angling. I love the art. I love like the flick of the wrist and all these little nuances that attract a certain fish that you're targeting. You can target a fish without seeing it, and it's an amazing thing. You know, like these guys who are ulua fishermen, or these guys who go whip from Empachi and Oveo at night, like they are so. It's you can't just go out there and do it. You need either like years of trial and error, or you need to be like fostered. You know.
I mean, there's the freak chance of like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing, but
Yeah.
you catch. Because as long as the line's out, you get chance.
Yeah.
But to your point, like, bro, I never catch my first ulu till year 4. I
Yeah.
started like, and came back from Japan. I'm like, yeah, I'm back in Hawaii.
Yeah.
More special to me now.
Yep.
How
I'm
am I
gonna dive into this.
How am I gonna connect with the ocean
Yeah.
that's closest to me right here? Oh, I'm fishing. Okay, we get kids. So when can I go? Nighttime when everybody's asleep. What does that mean? Targeting reds.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I can try to catch uluas too.
Yeah.
I kept track of how much money I was spending for a while, and then I was like, this is not gonna happen because
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
We're not gonna keep that up.
Yeah.
But what I am gonna keep up is just trying. And so like I think a lot of, at least me, I was like, yeah, I can go catch ulua too. And how many times I look like a donkey out there? You know what I mean? Trying this and that. Like, what are you doing with this? But year 4, boom, caught him. And then the crazy part is I caught another one like the next night. So I caught one on like Sunday, I think. And then I went back
You didn't catch
Tuesday.
one for 4 years, and then you caught 2 in 3 days.
48 hours, you could say.
Yeah.
2 in 48 hours. And then like 2 months later, I caught 2 in one night. And so it's like, that to me is something I can, for me in my experience, is something where I'm like, it does pay off.
Yes.
And when it pays off, it's almost like, to me, it's not even like, now I'll be more stoked. Like I am more stoked when my daughter catches some little po'opa, little hinalea, just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that is basically one ulua to her. And the thing that you just said, I was like, yo, that's true. Is you're targeting something you don't see.
Yeah.
And I think the practice of targeting something you don't see is valuable in business.
Yes.
So we're fishermen too.
Yeah.
When we're out in business, right? We control what we can, but we know we're just this little speck with a bunch of variables we don't control.
We're getting better at our art. We're getting better at what we do. We're getting better at targeting.
But we don't see it.
No.
But we know, like, if you just keep going, right?
Yep.
Boom, you get those 2 uluas one night kind of thing.
Exactly.
Those 2 clients, those 2 partners, something like, you don't see it now, but we keep going.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think about it, like, what if we, like, living in Japan too, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, how would that change? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not saying that the only people who love nature live in Hawaii. That's not true.
No.
Bro, just this morning I spent like 20 minutes watching some random YouTube video. I guess it's not so random, but a YouTube video of this guy in Alabama who built a pond, and you know, he populated it with like minnows, bass, crayfish. And then his whole thing is just he built the pond. He tells you why he built it, what he put in there. He goes fishing. He tags his fish. He keeps very meticulous records of each fish. He tags it, weight, date, the lure he used, and then gives them names. He has his audience like come in and be like, oh, that's, I think he has like little competitions for like first 2-pound bass, first 3-pound bass. Like, and then he also has cameras that like are up on like a perch. So he got different birds coming in. He's got deer on the land. He's also farming. He's like, I'm gonna put this kind of crop for the winter over here. And I was like, a lot of what this is the same thing. Like he's tapped in. He's tapped in to just all these uncontrollable variables around him.
Yes.
And he just keeps showing up.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's kind of like the same but different of what I'm tapping into over here in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Because I tell my friends all the time, like I learned more about the sky, the stars, the ocean, the mountains, the wind through fishing.
Yeah.
Right? Not tying all these other stuff, even physics, if you think about it, because like casting,
Yeah.
like when I was going to learn how to cast a conventional reel,
Yeah.
I still can't, like not very
hard.
good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of the journey, like you said, you're picking up so many other gems besides
my gosh.
the prize fish.
Yeah.
And that I think is what keeps that thirst satiated, because you're always building, you're always learning something new, even if it's the same spot, same season, same moon, same tide, whatever. Something gonna be a little different.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have the 10-pound test and you only got 6. You figure it out, right? And that constant challenge, I think, is what, especially us guys, we just love. Because what's it going to be?
I know, and then you have these like I always call them career days, where like you do the best you ever did, right? 2 Ulus in one night.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, what did I do different? And you're like trying to figure out where was the moon? What was the texture on the water like? What bait was I using? What color? What pound test? Was it fluorocarbon? Was it using mono?
Yeah.
And I never really come to a conclusion because I'm not good enough at it. I haven't put in the time, right? Like, because I've had days where I go out on the kayak because I kayak fish a lot.
So you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bro, I was watching YouTube videos and I saw this video of, I don't know if you heard of him, a guy from the West Side, Isaac Brumajim.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I saw him. He did this video on Hawaii Goes Fishing. Bro, this guy had a double Ono strike and he had like 2 spinner reels, like Penn 650s. And I'm like, I went to Sports Authority and I bought this ghetto kayak.
Yeah.
Bro, it was like a death machine. Bro, I took it out to Mokalea. I took it out to Kaina Point.
Oh, not the first trip you going Kaina Point.
First trip go out to Kaina Point.
Good thing you're in the Coast Guard.
Caught a mahi-mahi.
Nah.
Yeah, paddling out. Like, because I had some friends who did it too. So, hey, I got a kayak. I want to meet you guys.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
What should I get? Oh, go get some the kind some dedo pelu from Pacific Market in Waipahu. Okay, I find it. Hey, where's the opelu? Oh, right here, over here. Okay, get the opelu.
You're using dead opelu.
Dead opelu.
Just trolling.
Just dragging it.
Yeah.
I was going to meet them. I was late. I was going to meet them. I see some action on the water. Bam! 8-pound mahi-mahi.
Yeah, you.
First fish off the kayak. This
Wow.
ghetto $240 kayak. Ended up selling it and then getting like and now I got my like Scupper Pro Ocean kayak. But I still go out but like now I like to target like Uku and Vekeula. That's my favorite.
See, Uku's on my list. I know some guys droning or they've caught it from shore, but
deeper
like
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this guy I just met, he took me out. His name is Matty Wong.
Mm-hmm.
He's Hawaii's first pro bass fisherman. He's in the Elite Pro Series.
Okay.
He's out here like repping, right?
Yeah. Bro,
And
bass fishermen are the best. The best anglers.
That's why I'm like,
Yeah. It's an
grasshopper. I was full grasshopper mode.
Yep.
Yeah. Full grasshopper. I take everything I think I know, just put it on the side. I just grasshopper mode. And he's right. Because I get a Boston whaler. I didn't know what that was. So it's a small boat. And he's like, let's go. I'll take you out. Of course. Give me the time. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's so much that he has a YouTube channel too.
Okay.
So shout out Matty Wong Fishing Adventures. I hope I didn't mess it up. But Matty Wong on YouTube, where he just kind of it's a fucking like he's in Texas, Alabama, Louisiana, Virginia, and he's up at the Great Lakes. Like, you know what I mean? It's
I have a friend who does it.
Like,
it's like
tour.
He's a whole nother level.
I was like, you can't part-time this, right? And because of that, I'm like, that's why I want a grasshopper mode with as close to you as possible, right? And so he takes me out on the boat, and I'm just like, all right, tell me what to do. Just, and boom, sure enough, boom, catch opelu.
Yeah.
First thing, right?
Yeah.
First you gotta get the bait.
Yeah.
He already had everything rigged up. Boom, opelu, got it. Fill up the bait tanker.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, again, the first hour we had like 15 pieces. Boom. And then we start basically trolling.
Yeah.
Live Pelu. Boom. We got double strike mahi.
Yeah.
And already I was like, oh, yeah. And this is when I started like feeling seasick. I was like, good. At least we got something.
Yeah.
If we got to call it, like, I don't feel too bad. We got something, you know what I mean? Got 2 mahi. We ended up getting 3 mahis and 1 shibi.
Unreal.
And on bonus lie when we was actually going for opelu.
I like lie too.
You know, I saw the lie. I was like, hey, I eat lie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boom. That's going home. But that process to me was, bruh, I can literally go fishing every day, morning, lunchtime, nighttime fishing every day for the rest of my life. And there's still going to be so much stuff that I will never experience.
Yeah.
I will never learn. And I think that sort of insurmountable mountain, the Himalayan, like first person to peak K1, whatever, like that is the drive that so many of us are addicted to. I think it's right to say addicted. Like, fuck, let's be real.
Yeah.
I probably have an unhealthy relationship with that kind of drive.
Yeah.
But then again, is it unhealthy or I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Mean,
It just depends on how you view it, I guess.
Yeah, like.
Yeah. I mean, it could be like it's been unhealthy for me. Like I've been like late for work or like not pick my kids up from school.
Yeah.
Because of surfing and fishing. But then I was like, oh, okay, I shouldn't do that anymore. I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom, you can pick them up real quick.
Yeah. I remember one day I got in. I was like 30 minutes already late for work. I called my boss. Like, hey, I'm late. Everything okay? Yeah, I was out fishing. He's like, oh, okay, right.
What? So the Coast Guard is what you said 70? So you're gonna retire after 20 years or like?
I'm actually
are you done?
getting out. Yeah, I'm just getting out.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting out to do pure films full time.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy. Because there's a lot of like carrots, that dangle. The military will dangle in front of you. They're not stupid. They're a really big, smart, long-lasting organization.
Benefits are.
There's benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's benefits to it. But I don't know. Like one of the things that I really thought of, I actually had a conversation with a friend. He's like, oh, it's really risky to get out. And I was like, man, you know what's really risky? Jumping out of helicopters. Like that's what we do. Like that's what we do every day.
What do you do?
I'm a rescue swimmer.
So you're jumping out of helicopters?
Yeah, out of the red helicopter that you see cruise by.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, that's me.
Nah.
You wave.
Heli drops.
Yeah. But I'm like, that's risky. That's risky. You know what I mean? Bro, you know what's like, bro, it's not like a dig on the Coast Guard because like, bro, like I don't regret anything and I've learned so much from it. And if I didn't join the Coast Guard when I was 19 years old, like I don't know like where my path would have been. It taught me a lot. It really like gave me a lot of self-confidence because growing up, I did really bad in school. I did really bad learning from a book, but I was always really good at like hands-on learning. Mm-hmm. And then I got into the Coast Guard. It was like all the training was like made for me. I just excelled in everything, and everything that I ever wanted, I got out of it. And it's just been like the most amazing experience for me. Like going from high school dropout, right? I dropped out when I was 15. I just could not conform to the school environment. And then I was like really, really nervous about joining the military. So then I joined, and it was like, I'm like built for this. Like this, everything that we do is like, we're going to teach you how to do it. Then we're going to assist you on how to do it. Then you're going to teach me how to do it. It's like that is the type of teaching that they do. And that's so awesome.
That was you.
That was me.
That was your speed. Like you figured out. And
that
I think
was my speed.
That's what a lot of young testosterone filled men need though.
Yeah.
And so I get it, like why a lot of my graduating class chose that route too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's I wonder because I've seen stats that now recruitment is like
super
at an all-time low.
All-time low.
And the implications that has. But you know, as someone who is getting out of it now, what if your son is considering it? What kind of things
Oh,
would you say there?
yeah, I would say do it. I would say, really what I tell people now is like, hey, like try to not get comfortable in it, because you can go in and do your 4 years. You know, you could join when you're like 17, 18 years old. You get out when you're 22 and you get so much benefits. Like you get like for me, the big one, like for us growing up in Hawaii, we talked about it, buying a home, you get a
Oh,
VA home loan.
bruh.
You get a
Yeah.
VA home loan, and you know all about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to put any money down to go and buy a home. That's so huge. That's like such a step forward in life as a young local person from Hawaii to be
Yeah.
able to buy a house with no money down. Man, that's
You
huge.
paying what you would pay in rent, but towards a mortgage.
Exactly.
Almost. I mean, I'm
Exactly.
oversimplifying it, but
But that's kind of what it is.
the zero down part.
Yeah.
I know. That's the only thing I wish. I don't know if it's regret, but like, I, if the recruiters had led with that, I might have been in your boat.
Well,
You know what I'm
that's
saying? They didn't lead with that though.
Because most of the recruiters aren't from Hawaii. They don't speak our language.
Yeah.
They put these people from anywhere into the recruiting office in Hawaii, and you're looking at these people. They don't look like us. They don't talk like us. They don't eat the food that we eat, and they're trying to convince us to do this job.
Yeah.
Where like we don't want to do it, because like like growing up in Hawaii, what we're used to when we think about military is like large groups of young dumb males like walking around acting a fool.
On fucking Kuhio Ave or
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're acting stupid. They look different than us. But what we don't realize is that half of our neighbors are also like people in the military, and that's our friends and our uncles and aunties.
Yeah.
But they just don't they don't like exude the stereotype. But
But zero down to
Yeah.
me by far is like the big
That's
one
huge.
of if that's I talked to Derek about it. I was like, bro, that's if my recruiter led with that. Not all the promises of travel, becoming a man and
No.
all this development stuff,
Yeah.
which don't get me wrong, it's great.
it's great. It's a great byproduct
Bro.
of the military.
But if you said, hey, 4 years and you can put zero down and buy a house, try to lead with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me now it makes sense, but like at
Yeah.
the time as a high school senior or whatever, it's like, no, yeah, like you said, first of all, there's a very inside outside kind of feeling immediately when you meet somebody in Hawaii, right? You either get it or you don't,
Yeah.
right? And most of these guys just didn't get it.
They
They
didn't
were
get it.
clocking in, clocking out,
Yeah.
and we could
Yeah.
smell that.
Yeah.
So already it's like, all right,
They're
you can
there
buy me
because they had
lunch
to
or
be
whatever.
there.
You know what I mean? Like,
they're there because they had to be there.
but if imagine there was like a uncle, and he was like, "Hey, look, I bought this house in Waipahu, for Eva Beach. I'm at Campbell, so it's like I bought this house in Eva Beach,
Yeah.
zero down. You're gonna be paying rent,
Yeah.
bro. You might as well put that towards something that you
Yeah.
own, have equity in,
Yeah.
long term. Just like show me a timeline that you did, and the money in that timeline, and I'm like, oh shit, I can
Yeah.
handle that with a Home
Yeah.
Depot salary,
Yeah.
or I don't know, but like
Yeah.
put it in perspective
Yeah.
of a 21-year-old that just got out of whatever the 4-year program.
Right.
I mean, I think now there's probably more people doing that. I hope. I mean, maybe there is. I don't know. That's
I don't
not
know.
something that and you work with a lot of PCSers or agents who
Yep.
are more towards like, let's say,
Geared towards like military clientele.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I know it's a huge part of Hawaii life,
Yeah.
like it or not. Like it's a presence here.
Yeah.
That just can't be ignored. And just so there's so many things that I wish like I could tell my younger self that I know now. But
Yeah.
I am mad. I'm happy like where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Excuse me. We finished off this little Toki bottle right here.
Yeah.
Bro, it's been 3 hours.
Oh my
I
gosh.
wanna just give you like a chance. Go ahead, like tell people like where they can find you. And also how to get in touch with you if they want real estate videos.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. Thanks for listening. We don't really advertise. If you want to find us, you can check our work on Instagram, Pure Films, and it's me and Malia just doing our thing.
Oh yeah, shout out to Malia too.
Yeah.
I was wondering, I was like, oh, you know what?
It would have been cool. She can. I asked her. She goes, no.
If she's clowning you when you're trying to do your own.
She's clowning me when I'm trying to talk, bro.
Next, hey, Malia, come on.
Yeah.
Come true. Hey, thanks, Mark. Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime
Kenji.
too, bro.